Hey everybody, how's it going? It is RambleCast time. This is April 19th, 2023. And there's a Corbin in the room who is already waving.
Hello.
How's everybody doing? It's been a week. So much craziness. And actual craziness. We're not even, not a lot of interesting activity. Just people being crazy. People be crazy, yo.
Are we live? Did you click the button?
Yes.
Why can I not find you?
YouTube is, I don't know.
Did you get shadow banned?
All of my political hot takes are getting the channel banned.
Can you link me?
Well, if you look in my RambleCast chat room, I already posted the link in there.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
But it is, if I look at my own YouTube, yeah, I don't see my channel either. So that is a little weird.
Yeah.
It's possible YouTube's just breaking right now.
I'm gonna have to edit my my toot about us being live because I just used the link to your channel.
But hey, at least you can edit because
I can.
You're using a civilized social network.
Yep. So yeah, speaking of that, and also The Verge is lagging out for me. I can't actually read this article we were going to talk about.
Wait, the Verge? You mean Windows Central?
Well, I thought we were I thought you mentioned the Elon Musk thing, but we can talk about.
Well, no, you didn't send me a link to that one, but
the Windows. Okay. I'll do the Windows Central because I can't look at the Verge right now. It's not
okay.
Okay.
We're organized.
Yeah, bear with us. Technical difficulties. I sent you the link to the Microsoft thing.
Okay.
That's the Windows Central. Okay. All right. So, yeah, and I don't have the chat open. I'm doing great.
If it counts for anything, it looks like the chat. Okay, the chat I can see live pretty quickly, but it is not showing up in my video feed hardly at all.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it looks like YouTube's broken again. Cool. Yeah, I know it went down like 2 days ago or something for a little bit, so might still be having problems.
See, this is what happens when you change CEOs or whatever the new guy's title is.
Yep. So yeah, I'll put this in the chattery now. This is a new report from Windows Central, which has been getting a lot of scoops. And they are reporting that Microsoft is working on 2 new Surface products. One of them is a Surface Go 4 that has an ARM chip in it. And the other one is a Surface Pro with a smaller 11-inch screen. So basically how Microsoft Surface lineup works is you have I don't believe there's a normal Surface anymore. I think they stopped doing that. So there's a Surface Pro, which is like the tablet that you have a little keyboard, cover for. And it runs, it's got Windows, it's got an x86 chip. There's the Surface Go, which so far has been smaller, but also x86 based. And then they have the some versions of the Surface Pro, the ones with 5G, and the Surface Pro X are ARM. And then they have laptops and stuff. So basically, they've had the Surface Go, which has been Intel based. I don't know if they've used AMD chips. And they're supposedly going to try to ship that with ARM. And at the same time, the Surface Pro, which is like their main Windows tablet x86 thing, which I think it's like 13 inches at this point. they're going to make one with an 11-inch display, which I mean the first couple Surface tablets I think were around that size, the Surface Pros, but they were like wide. I think they were 16 by 9 versus I believe most of the Surface products now are like 3 by 2, so a little bit taller. So definitely interesting. I know when the last round of Surface Pros came out and you could only get an ARM chip with like the 5G one, that kind of told me that like Microsoft still was not super confident about Windows on ARM, even though at that point we're several years into the current iteration of this, right? Like I know they tried it with Windows 8, but that kind of stalled out, and then there was the Windows 10 for ARM, which was better purely because it was just normal Windows and had some compatibility with x86 applications, so you weren't completely starting from scratch with your Windows software. And like they've been slowly building on that for several years, but they still haven't like shipped much of their own stuff with it. So I guess it's good that they're allegedly feeling confident enough to make more stuff with ARM. Because like honestly, I haven't used a ARM Windows laptop, like a pure ARM Windows machine yet. I'd like to at some point, just to like get a feel for it and maybe write about if it's bad or not. Haven't had that opportunity yet, but I have been using Windows 11 in Parallels on a Apple Silicon Mac. So it's ARM, but it's virtualized ARM, and obviously Parallels adds some of its own stuff. And it's using Apple's like ARM virtualization layer. So there's some magic happening there. But I mean, that's been pretty good for me. Like it's obviously, again, some of this is due to Apple, but it's very fast. Really, the only compatibility issues I've had running x86 Windows software is the stuff that tries to run like anti-cheat stuff or like kernel extensions. So like there's a couple games I've tried that will not start because there's some DRM or anti-cheat or something that looks at your, you know, what I assume is happening is it sees that its code is being modified because it's being translated in real time from x86 instructions. It's like, wait a minute, you're modifying our code. We're not going to run. So I assume that's what's happening there. I don't really know for sure, but I've run into a couple games that don't work that way. But outside of like stuff with DRM, like I've got a couple games from like GOG that have worked great on my MacBook. I've played the Windows version of Civilization 6 on my MacBook, and the performance is basically the same as the Mac version, which is written for Mac, but that is also being emulated because they haven't updated that for Apple Silicon yet. So that's pretty impressive. Like clearly in Windows's case there, Microsoft has written the code that's translating it from x86 to ARM. And that seems, again, like besides the apps that like explicitly look for that kind of modification, it seems to work really well. So that's why it's been a little bit weird that they haven't tried more ARM products yet. I imagine maybe there's like, they've looked at the stats of people who buy Surface computers, and there's like a couple things that are really popular with that crowd that just do not work in this mode or are much worse. But like a lot of software works. Basically, I don't know if like Firefox is compiled for Windows ARM, but like a lot of the other web browsers are. They've been working on like that Android layer they've been building into Windows. Like when you install it on ARM machine, it's running, Android ARM. So it seems pretty solid at this point. So I don't really know if they'd have many complaints. Really, the issue still is just Qualcomm's hardware is not that good. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing where I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand them throwing like a 15-watt Intel chip in there because it's still gonna be better in a lot of cases. But I don't know. And they say in the article that for the Surface Go, and the Surface Go also has been like a budget computer, so it's easier for that to switch to ARM because Qualcomm's more competitive with Intel's shittier chips. We'll say that. And Windows Central says, according to my sources, the Surface Go 4 is codenamed Tanta and will ship with a Snapdragon 7C based system on a chip. And they say that that's probably going to have similar performance to the current model, but with better power efficiency. Again, that would depend on how much translating it's doing, but yeah.
Yeah, this is it's certainly a product line they have to make. In reality, I mean, just say what you can have, whatever narrative you'd like to believe in about Intel, and by that I mean whether or not you see the company as failing and living on a short timeline, or if this is just a lull, or maybe they're focused elsewhere and they don't care about this anymore, whatever, however you want to see Intel's place in the market. The reality is Microsoft would be foolish not to really commit itself to getting some ARM hardware out there. So, this makes sense. They kind of have to do this. And doing it in the budget space makes a lot more sense, just as an upfront thing. Quite simply because budget users expect a lower standard. So if you kind of get it wrong, if your performance isn't great, if there are apps out there that just aren't really optimized for the experience, whether because they aren't compiled for it, or maybe the compilers themselves just aren't suitable, yeah, Microsoft has to do this. It's really the only way they can keep their relevance is to make sure that their software, well, their OS can run on every major piece of, or every major category of hardware. And the best way for them to do that at this stage is to make their own hardware too.
Yeah. Oh, also, I figured out why your stream isn't showing up for me. The stream is unlisted.
What the hell? Oh, jeez.
I figured it out.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so on the note of things that have been figured out, so the article you were looking for on The Verge. Oh, hey, there's a notification. The article you were looking for on The Verge. Yeah. It's not only that article, but I found 3 articles in a row that will not load. Other articles load perfectly. I mean, instantly. So The Verge is working. But specifically, and I kid you not, here are the articles that will not load. Elon Musk threatening a lawsuit against Microsoft. SpaceX Starship test flight. And Twitter verified check marks removing Legacy Blue. 3 things about Elon Musk in a row will not load, but a bunch of other articles load fine. It's hard not to wonder if The Verge is getting threatened with lawsuits or something, because it's weird that all 3 of these just suddenly vanished.
Or the Verge has Elon specific code, just like Twitter, and that.
Oh, actually,
yeah. How
interesting would it be if... I'm trying to think of a way that could happen, but how interesting would it be if Elon got one of his developers to figure out some way that they could embed some sort of broken code that would break page loads with embedded tweets. The only thing is
Elon's hey guys, can you update the Twitter share button code with a cryptocurrency miner? We really need to...
God, I could absolutely see that.
Beat investor expectations this quarter. So okay, yeah, so that's fine. I'm not particularly broken about not talking about Elon. That's okay. So what else to do? We can talk about the Reddit thing for a second, I guess.
Okay, sure.
So Reddit announced on Tuesday that it is making changes to its API, and they kind of like sort of explain this as due to the increase in like AI stuff, like a lot of AI projects using Reddit for like training and that kind of thing, which might explain the quality of some of these AI models.
I was gonna say this.
Not always.
This
Not
doesn't
always
speak
the best
highly.
people over there. No, not always the best people over there.
Well,
Reddit's
not only
super
that, but
good.
I mean, there are a few places that I would trust less with quality of information, and for that matter, language. If you're building a language model off of Reddit, Jesus, you got to be kidding me. The grammar over on Reddit is so abysmal.
Yeah, so they made some like vague stuff, basically just saying like we're gonna start doing stuff. There's nothing really set in stone yet, which is also kind of what happened with Twitter. They're mentioning that there's gonna be like most people and companies are gonna have to pay for API access. There's gonna be like some like free projects where you don't have to do that. I've seen a lot of people like just like immediately compare this to Twitter, and that's not really true. Reddit, it's definitely going in that direction where Twitter, if we run like 10 years ago, was also like, yeah, we're just gonna like add some new API stuff, and you'll have to pay for some of it or it'll be limited, but don't worry, like we still like really care about you, which is what Reddit's doing here. They're the developer for Apollo for Reddit, which is a popular Reddit app for iPhone, was like, yeah, I actually like talk to people at Reddit and they seem like they care about this ecosystem, but for now, I guess. And the big disruption why this matters for normal people is that this means that most Reddit apps will probably have to switch to some kind of subscription model if they want to continue existing, because that API is a continuous cost, and you buying an app for 99 cents 5 years ago is not enough to sustain the costs of whatever API access comes. So a little bit of a bummer here. Again, it depends. Again, like there's not really enough specific information yet to make a judgment call, except that, yeah, Reddit apps will probably have to be more expensive, which of course part of this is just like, Reddit trying to throw up some barriers against things that it doesn't like. But also there's a continued problem where Reddit, I think, is the absolute worst at this. I know this was a factor with Twitter as well, but Reddit has for the past couple years been making its official apps absolutely terrible. Like they're just really bad. I use it on my iPhone right now just to like try to get a feel for what it's like. It is terrible UI design, like some of the worst design I've seen in an app. There's like 3 layers of like navigation. They keep tweaking stuff. They keep giving me pop-ups to pick out an NFT because they're still doing that. It's really not good. And you can see again, like every time a company like updates something, you have people mad. Like that's just a thing that happens with a certain percentage. And Reddit, people seem to be more generally unhappy with basically anything. I think even if you did a positive move, people over there would be upset. But they've really made everyone who uses their website very upset. And I think and what's so interesting about Reddit historically is that they've been making their new experience terrible, but they've been keeping a lot of the older stuff alive just so they don't lose that core base that's probably interacting with their services the most. Like, if you have a Reddit account, you can still go into the settings and turn off the new Reddit that has been the Reddit for like 4 or 5 years now. I don't know. And it's, of course, loads much faster, generally works better. I saw they just killed off recently the old mobile Reddit, which is annoying because I was using that for my my image share web app until recently. And so yeah, so there is a certain thing of like, I'm sure this is supposed to push people to the official apps, and also a factor here is that Reddit is still gunning for an IPO pretty soon. So I'm 100% positive that their valuation would be a lot lower if investors looked at this and were like, okay, but most of your audience is coming from places that are not monetizable, whatever, like at all. Like Reddit's getting zero money from everyone using a third-party client, except in terms of them using the service and talking to other people to make the platform more like alive with people. But
well, they do have paid stuff like
yeah, there is the Reddit
Gold
premium, yeah, and it has like some syncing stuff.
So it's not completely unmonetizable, but admittedly, yeah, it's not the greatest. If what you're doing is chasing, if you're purely chasing money, yeah, Reddit isn't really designed around that structure super well.
Yeah, Carson said, I'm pretty happy with the new Reddit at this point. It has a dark theme. Yeah, I don't. The new Reddit, I go back and forth. It's like, if they fixed a handful of things, it would be fine for me. It's just like occasionally, if I watch a video and then pause it and scroll past, like 10 seconds later, it'll start playing again sometimes. And I have to go find where that was, or just mute the tab. Usually that's easier. And of course, they keep doing the pop-ups for the stupid NFT shit.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more tolerable since they stopped trying to push live streams. They finally gave that up, thankfully. So yeah, they're coming at this from a slightly different place than Twitter. Obviously, Twitter was the most extreme example possible of someone looking at this and going, wait a minute, I want more money.
Yeah.
So I'm going to literally destroy every single other app right there. Like with that, there was never a converse. Now, granted, that came after like years of like Twitter going back and forth about like, are we even going to have an API anymore? Like, we'll keep the API alive, but like we're not giving it everything. So it is a little bit different, but again, Reddit has just I don't know the last thing I've seen Reddit do that I think is like good, like a good move generally, except like every once in a blue moon there'll be they'll ban like 100 of like the worst places on the internet that were allowed to exist for far too long on their website. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. But then they like also then those people like crawl into other places, so it's kind of a cat and mouse situation. But
whenever people get too comfortable comparing Reddit to 4chan, then Reddit makes a point of like, okay, we got to fix it. Someone go ban the worst, and
Reddit gets to the point where they're like probably like someone at like Washington Post or someone is reaching out to comment because they just found the most demented garbage on their website, and Reddit's like, oh whoops, how'd that happen? we'll just get rid of that.
It's funny how much the same could be said about Substack. Anyway,
yeah. Oh my god, yeah, we got. Well, now I have to talk about Substack next. That was hilarious. But
I did briefly talk about it last week, very briefly.
Okay.
But no, by all means, if you want to talk about it, you're welcome to.
Well,
I welcome that one.
I'll finish my Reddit rant. I'll just say like I'm interested in knowing the specifics of this because as with Twitter, Reddit is pretty important to me for as a news source, like something I have in my news readers and stuff, because some places like their best communication that I can, because like there's like a growing problem here where companies keep using social networks for communication, and usually that's the only reliable way of doing it. But those social networks are like completely locked down. And I had this issue. I ran into this in a big problem with Twitter because, of course, Twitter just killed all of its API unless you pay them far too much money per month. And so far, it doesn't really seem like anyone's willing to do that except Buffer. Buffer's still alive, so that's pretty cool. But I'll see how much longer that lasts. But so when that went down, I ran into the issue of like, well, there's a bunch of companies that I'm like monitoring, so I can like, you know, tell people about what they're doing, and I can't really do that anymore because a lot of these companies, they might have a Twitter or an Instagram feed or something, but I can't look at any of those or monitor them or get alerts about them in any way unless I'm like checking their app constantly. And you know, after the Twitter thing happened, I literally like sent an email to some of these companies. I was like, hey guys, I have literally no way of monitoring this unless you like make an RSS feed or something. Literally just make an RSS. Some of these companies have, like, there was one, I think it was Razer. Razer has a newsroom blog something. I looked at the HTML code. They are running WordPress, but they do not have a functional RSS. You actually have to do work to not do that.
Yeah, it's literally a thing you'd have to disable. It comes automatically with RSS working out of the box.
Yeah, and WordPress has fantastic RSS support too. Like there's a bunch of sites that don't like officially support RSS feeds for like if I only care about like one category of what a site publishes. I can usually like hack the RSS feed a little bit to only include that, which is really nice. But yeah, so like it's just a bunch of cases like that where the Twitter thing made my job marginally more difficult, or I just ignore. Like I'm not really paying attention to what Razor's doing right now. And that's their fault. And I really don't want the same thing to happen with Reddit, because it's another place where like there's some people over there that really only post reliably there, or there's like you know, I think Google might be one of these where Google will do some announcements in like a related subreddit. Like there's an Android developers Reddit where they will post like messages about like a new beta release coming out or something. There might be a comparable blog, but there's a lot of stuff like that where Reddit is one of the places that they actively post to. And of course, I can monitor that because Reddit is like the only social platform left with really good RSS support. You can turn any Reddit search or any Reddit profile into an RSS feed, or you can turn those into JSON without an API key and do stuff with it. Like Reddit is the only one left that does that. Twitter had it like a decade ago. I don't think Facebook ever did this, or at least not while I've been paying attention.
Facebook actually did have an API for your feed.
Okay.
There used to be third-party Facebook apps.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like Reddit, so like I've appreciated Reddit for that aspect, like that they've kept that kind of stuff alive. But I really hope this doesn't kill it. Again, they've not a whole lot of like firm information yet about a lot of this. And I'm hoping they don't kill the RSS, because that will once again make my job more difficult. And between the Twitter stuff, which also there's even more stuff happening with Twitter. Like Microsoft just killed one of its like advertising tools that supports a bunch of different social media networks. They killed the Twitter access because they're not paying for it. There was a thing where Twitter would not give API access to the National Weather Service. So they can't do like
Yes.
weather alerts through Twitter anymore. So
Well,
there's a lot of
they
stuff.
can't do automated. They
Right.
can manually publish. Someone can pick up their phone and
Yeah.
tweet something, but
Yeah. So there's a lot, and this has been an issue with other places too. Like obviously, I can't like, you know, monitor like an Instagram feed unless I open Instagram. Like this has been a thing with other platforms for a while. And it's also been a thing with Discord where some companies love to use, and also organizations, like they love to use Discord for like a wiki or like the main source of information. And I despise that. Discord is not built for that. It's not indexable at all. Like I remember I was trying to write about Mid-Journey. They changed some of their stuff after that photo of like the Pope went viral that someone made in Mid-Journey, and their announcement was literally like in their Discord server. So I had to figure out how to join their Discord server and then find the message that other articles were talking about. So this has been a thing, and it's frustrating because it's more lockdown stuff and not always for helpful reasons. And I've seen a couple, a lot of their responses to this has been like, why don't you companies make a Mastodon account? Like why, like that's good, but that again, because Mastodon does give you RSS feeds for every user, so I am using that for a couple places now. But again, jumping to the other place is not like what we should be doing. Like we had a pretty good solution to this, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and Google built a really nice product around it, and then a lot of people stopped using it after that died. So PR people, companies, if you're watching this, please have functional RSS feeds. I'm not the only one who complains about this, but I might be the only one that complains to your press contact email about it.
Austin asks, how can Web3 fix this?
Yeah, we need a blockchain RSS.
The really sad thing is, I believe I remember seeing an email pitch about something like that several months ago. Someone was trying to offer like a blockchain powered news for the people, and it's like, okay, bud, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Because this is something that needs to be blockchain. Okay, so you said a lot of things in there. It went off in some interesting directions. I'm gonna try to quick hit a couple of them really fast. First, and this isn't a disagreement with you, but it is kind of an acknowledgement. Discord, while definitely not a wiki, far from being a wiki or even comparable to one, they do have those new, I forget what they're called, but they're like post channels or something. I call them new, but
yeah, like the forum.
That's it. The forum channels, or however they're called. Anyway, they're definitely far from being wiki-like, but they're kind of interesting. They're definitely closer to the intent of that. Diablo, no, these are, I mean, they're not threads technically, but they kind of, like, imagine a thread that doesn't have imagine a channel that doesn't have regular conversation, just has threads. That's kind of what these are. And so it works a lot more like a forum website, let's say like XDA, or well, the XDA forums, not the news portal. It's a lot like that. And I haven't seen too many servers set these up, but I'm in one for the DaVinci Resolve community, and that one has these for a bunch of channels, and they're good. It's a neat idea.
Yeah, they're potentially useful, but they're really just like forum sites that Google can't index whatsoever.
Yeah,
so it's
that is definitely
harder.
a big problem.
It's a lot harder to find that information. So then so like number one, users might get annoyed because it's like, I don't know how to find the answer to my problem. And then the people answering questions might get annoyed because they can't they might have answered this like 5 other times because none of this is like
also, I don't know how many people have really noticed this, but Discord's search function is kind of crappy. I mean, it's not terrible.
It's not great.
I've seen much worse, so I will give it. I'll give it a little bit of room to be, whatever. But yeah, it's not great. It needs a lot of help, and moreover, I would argue Discord's linking capability. Like, if you want to link to another message, it's janky. It's really janky. It needs to be fixed. It's not as bad as Slack, where you link to a message in the Slack app, people click on it in the Slack app, and it makes you open a freaking web
opens
page.
In the web browser.
Oh my god,
terrible.
There is nothing dumber than this. Anyway, so cheers to Discord for at least not being that dumb, right?
Well,
does it open in the web page?
They still do that, I believe, if you link to a message in another server.
Okay, yeah. If it's in another server, that makes sense. But as long as it's in the same server, it should just it should take you to that message in the same app. But anyway, anyway, enough about Discord. I do completely agree with your argument that every single press release, every announcement that any company makes should just happen somewhere on a website. Ideally, yes, it should also be indexable. That I feel like is not just indexable, but it should be on RSS feeds. It should be through other services or sources other than something controlled by social media.
Yeah, something that can be easily monitored with RSS or something like it. I don't, maybe there's another thing like that. Email, if you want to send me, if you want to spend the money to run email servers to send me an email every time you announce something, great. That's also an option.
I disagree. I mean, yes, that helps, but I also disagree with that. If it takes the place of publishing in an it still needs to be like a public page somewhere, because that's also good for people checking me. Yeah,
because I do get that occasionally where I'm writing something that isn't public yet, and I don't know exactly where the announcement will go if it does go somewhere. So when I'm writing, I'm always kind of they'll just have to believe me.
Yeah,
because I don't have anything to link to right now.
Oh no, this, by the way, for anyone who's never worked in news, this is one thing that really sucks about getting embargoes. Getting embargoes is great because it usually gives you more time to write about something, try to write it correctly, and research it and everything else. The bad side about getting embargoes is embargo time comes, you publish your article about this thing, maybe their original article hasn't gone up yet, or it goes up, if we're talking Google here especially, it goes up in a completely random blog that nobody knows about, and you don't know to look for it in this other random site or address. Basically, you publish something, and as soon as you publish it, you have to spend anywhere from 5, 10, maybe 30 minutes looking for the article just so you can put a link as your source. Yeah, this stuff sucks. It's super annoying.
And again, it really boggles my mind, some of this stuff, because I don't understand the argument for not doing it from the company side either. Because it's the alternative to getting your message out is paying press relations people to try to do it, or hope that all the journalists are following you on Facebook or whatever already. So I don't really get the argument against that either, but I don't know, it could just be a thing that they don't think about enough, or I don't know.
So
it's annoying for me.
This becomes kind of a weird meta discussion, but it is actually a little bit funny when you consider a lot of companies pay way too much money for SEO people. And here you have a practice that is the antithesis of SEO. You're literally hiding your announcements from everybody. You're making it as hard to find as possible. So yeah, that's a weird twist on whatever the hell they're doing. But yeah, also, unless you're announcing stuff you don't want people to see, and there are some companies that definitely have this problem, you should probably actually tell people. Like, find a way for people to learn about it.
Yeah,
it actually just makes sense.
Especially when it's a public page, and you know, a couple hours after it goes up, you realize you fucked up, and you typoed something or said something that was wrong. You can just edit the page, and it works. And anyone who goes to the source will have the most up-to-date information.
Well, and hopefully they note that they made a mistake and fixed it, rather than just changing things and making everyone who wrote based on that look dumb.
But it's crazy to me how many companies are bad at this. Like, there's a bunch of companies where literally the only way I see what they announce is through not as many as I'd like, but a lot of companies publish their press releases to a site called Business Wire, which looks like it was made in 2007, but has RSS feeds for most of the companies in there. So that's how, like T-Mobile, for instance, I looked around for T-Mobile. They have no feeds, no nothing for half of what they talk about. So I have to use Business Wire for them. So again, like, if Business Wire goes down, that's another, like, that's far worse than Twitter going down for my ability to do stuff. Like, I don't know how many feeds I have going through them.
Oh, I would go so far as to say, if Business Wire ever goes down, prepare to see literally half of the news sites, or half of the content news sites would normally publish. Just expect to see it just gone. Until Business Wire comes back up, those sites are pretty much just floundering, waiting for something interesting to come up. Or
they start charging for usage.
Oh, well, no. I meant on a given random day, if Business Wire crashes or something for a couple of hours, you'll see Android Police suddenly get really quiet. You'll see even The Verge will get really quiet, because so many sites are dependent on reading Business Wire's posts.
And Diablo said, like, NVIDIA GeForce Now news is too hidden. Yeah, like this isn't just a, like, inside baseball thing. Like, this is like there's normal people using, like, Feedly and these kinds of apps who just want to see everything in the one place, and that's impossible. They have to, and a lot of times there's not, like, an alternative, right? Like, what else is NVIDIA using to announce? Like, maybe they have a Facebook page. Not everyone uses Facebook. I know they have Twitter accounts, but again, like, Twitter's broken a lot. Like, that's what I try to get across in the couple of emails I sent to these companies. I was like, I know you have, like, Twitter pages, but Twitter doesn't work a lot of the time anymore. And also, I don't want to use it, but I mostly focus on the Twitter being broken part. So yeah, it's very weird, and I don't fully understand it. This might just be, you know, normal businesses not running properly, despite the assumption that capitalism strives all companies to be more optimized.
You know, the funny thing is, I bet if a bunch of companies started hearing that Twitter, their Twitter account, like, they post something and people are complaining, hey, we follow you, we want to see what you're posting, but we don't get to see it because Twitter's not showing it to us anymore. I bet you'd see a lot of those companies quickly saying, you know what? Yeah, let's try something else. Let's do more. All they need to do is hear it enough, and they will wake up to this. And I don't know how you get them to hear it enough,
Yeah.
Because companies that post only to Twitter and Facebook tend to be famously very bad at listening to the people who follow them on Twitter and Facebook. But I think if someone could get that across to them, it would actually make a difference. You know?
Yeah, but it is.
I hate saying this, but I know exactly how you get this to happen. You convince somebody at The Verge to write an article about, hey, are you a company that relies on this? You're probably stupid.
You're making my job harder. Stop it.
But
literally just put an RSS feed somewhere.
Well, but if The Verge writes it, companies will see it, and it'll click really, really fast that they all need to hire somebody to set up a Mastodon server for them, or something else. But a Mastodon server solves the RSS thing too. So
Yeah. Again, I need them to not do what they're doing. And of course, ironically, the Verge would be the last tech organization to have this problem, because everyone's chomping at the bits for them to cover their thing anyway. So they're probably getting lovely customized emails for every single thing that happens in the tech world.
Oh, that would be nice. Actually, no, it wouldn't. But
yeah, I don't want to talk to that many people. I've got a job.
But yeah, I'm sure that Verge has multiple full-time people just reading emails.
Oh yeah, probably.
But let's see. Was there? Okay, so we had. Oh, we were gonna go to Substack next, but I'm trying to think. There's something else I had to say about Reddit. I feel like there was. Oh, okay. Just to bring it back up, because I made this snarky comment on Discord, and I do mean it. This is 100% one of those things where I think Reddit saw Twitter do a thing that Reddit has wanted to do for a long time, which is really they do want to shut off access to their API. I genuinely think that's something Reddit has wanted to do for a long time, but they are known for being the more open, the more accessible thing, and so they couldn't jump to do this, but Twitter did it. That became an excuse for Facebook to do it more fully. And not just shutting off API access, I mean like charging for things, making things more expensive, twisting and closing off access. I'm talking more broadly than just the individual closing of the API. But we saw we've seen Twitter do all of these things. Facebook and Instagram and a few others have kind of tried to follow. And now that everyone else has done it, and everyone can say, well, Reddit is still the most open thing, Reddit can now shut off a few more things and still get to claim to be one of the most open things. And so, this is 100% one of those things. They know they won't suffer from doing this. Like, they'll take some heat. Some people will be unhappy. But no one's going to leave Reddit because of this. Because Reddit's still going to be the one that people can say, all right, fine, I guess I'll pay for it this month. Fine, I'll do this. Fine, I'll do that. That is where Reddit gets to still play the not so bad card. But they've wanted to do this for ages. I have zero doubt in my mind that this was just finally like their opportunity, because it's a month after everyone else had decided that they were going to be less open.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, again, I think it mostly goes back to the fact that a lot of their core user base, again, sort of like Twitter, like a lot of the core user base was using other apps, and for a while, Twitter's equation was like, all right, we value these like core users driving up engagement more than we value draining money from them for right now. And now I guess Reddit has decided that's not worth it anymore. Again, probably because they want to be a publicly traded company and they need more money. The line needs to always go up.
Well, not only that, but I kind of wonder if Reddit also ran into the same problem, or the same metric Twitter obviously did, and people talked about this extensively. And the same goes for Facebook and Instagram. They've likely hit peak users. It's not like Reddit or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's not like they have a huge pocket of new people that have never heard of the service and they need to appeal to them. At this point, if you don't use it, you don't use it. You can always build a few more, a few hundred thousand here, a few 100,000 there. But yeah, at the end of the day, you've got as many as you're going to get. You might as well try to start making more money off of it. And it sucks that is the line always has to go up trend. But yeah, here's Reddit. They've likely hit that cap. I bet their growth rate is, I don't want to say stalled, but I bet it's kind of close to that. And Reddit is, it only has so much room to increase its user base. So yeah, and honestly, I think Reddit might also be in that same position that Facebook was, where the general audience is getting older. Maybe not so substantially that it's as devastating to their business as it is for Facebook, but I do think the average age of a Redditor is probably slowly crawling upward, and I bet they're feeling it. So the best move is to start charging. I mean, well, for them, that's the best move. For us, it sucks.
Yeah, I think it probably helps that Reddit hasn't like really innovated all that much in the past decade.
What? You're saying that NFT avatars aren't innovation?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, like they've tried a lot of stuff. There's no shortage of trying new things over there, and then everyone who uses the service tells them to stop.
I would actually disagree with the exact phrasing. There is absolutely a shortage of trying new things. They have no shortage of trying old, tired, exhausted things no one liked.
Yes, like they were also on the train of we need a Clubhouse clone 6 months after Clubhouse, and after most people had stopped caring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to a Substack rant, because I'm here for this.
Yeah, so The Verge interviewed the CEO of Substack. I'll put this article in the YouTube chat, and the interviews, the whole thing's pretty interesting. But there was one segment that they very smart clipped and posted all over the place, especially on TikTok. And I'm trying to find, where was that one bit in this text?
Oh wait, okay, so yeah, they published the entire transcript. Do they not have the video in here? Wow, they didn't embed the video. That is madness to me, because holy crap, it's so good.
Yeah, so I'll just
anyway, I've got the video here. I'll also paste that into chat. So
yeah, but you should absolutely watch the full video, like without either of us talking over it, because it's
I'll say it right now, it's 2 minutes 22 seconds. You can pause this stream, go watch that video, come back and just play this stream at like 1.1x or whatever, and catch up pretty quick. It's worth it. If you have not seen this, it is gold.
So this interview came up because Substack is launching something a little bit more. So Substack, its original purpose was like journalists or anyone else trying to convey information can set up like their own newsletter basically, and they can optionally monetize it. So it was like part blog, part like paid newsletter platform thing, like Patreon sort of. And they're launching something that's that they called Substack Notes, which sort of is more built around the idea of writing shorter things, so not something that would be like article or email length, more like Twitter, back when that was working. So the Verge interviewed them, and I have to imagine the CEO thought this would be mostly easy
puff piece.
easy softball, puff piece, like, I'll talk, because obviously the Verge has been talking up like how bad this has been going for Twitter, and they've been covering alternatives like Mastodon a lot, and then they get to the part that makes all of these CEOs of social networks just completely squirm, which is like, what do you do about far right people?
I'll quote Nilay's question. He starts by saying, "Wow, I mean, I just want to be clear. If somebody shows up on Substack and says, quote, all brown people are animals and they shouldn't be allowed in America, end quote, you're going to censor that? That's just flatly against terms of service." To wit, the CEO of Substack basically says, so we do have terms of service that have narrowly prescribed things that are not allowed, and this proceeds to a back and forth that lasts, 2 minutes. 2 minutes of the CEO refusing to answer the question and trying in the worst Weasley ways to get out of it.
And very importantly, this is not like a "I gotcha" statement, really. It's not like what someone at Congress would say in some hearing about how bad Facebook is, where the question is nonsensical. He's just very clearly asking the CEO of Substack, would you let someone who says all brown people are animals, would you allow them to continue existing on your site and getting money? Because again, part of Substack's purpose is making it easier for people like that to get income from subscriptions to their posts. And he would just not make a definitive answer. And of course, this is the thing with Substack, is that a lot of their money comes from people who do say things like that and have popular Substacks with subscriptions, and Substack gets a cut of each subscription. So once again, and of course the CEO is white dude, of course, and once again there's a problem where it's the same thing we've seen over and over again, where all of the people in charge of these platforms are taking sort of a laid back approach, kind of we'll delete things that are outright illegal, but we're not gonna go before that point. And that's how you get a lot of the right-wing violence we've been dealing with, where people like Charlie Kirk or Jordan B. Peterson are just allowed to continuously spout things that are actually calling for violence. A lot of this stuff, a lot of these are especially right now, a lot of them are we need to kill all trans people, basically.
Yeah.
And
thank you for saying that on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. It's fine. I mean, you again,
that won't
Jordan
cause
B. Peterson. I'm pretty sure Jordan's on YouTube, so I should be fine me saying that. But anyway, so
just what I needed, YouTube to make me even less visible.
Yeah. So again, this should be a really easy thing to cut back, and of course, Twitter didn't do this very well even before Elon Musk. Again, Trump was allowed to bypass every single rule because getting views on Twitter was more important than making the president post his ramblings somewhere else. And yeah, this snippet it's so great. It's great in written form. It's especially good in the video, because you see the CEO, his brain just ceases. He just sits there I don't know if it's necessarily when you sit there and you're oh man, I really fucked up just now. I think it's more what do I say that won't make the right wing pieces of shit hate me. Like that, I think that would be my assumption of his behavior in this case. Again, because Substack knows they have to know that a lot of their money is coming from bad people running their own Substack subscriptions, and they're getting money from that.
So it actually did come out. I want to say it was something like 6 months or so, maybe not even that long, after Substack started its whole thing of like basically creator fund is what it worked out to be. It was known that they had at least some number of people on there who were extreme right-wing, basically hate speech peddlers that were getting paid. And then it started coming out. I don't think anyone figured out what the numbers were exactly, but somehow somebody discovered the ranking, like the ones who were getting paid the most. And the top 10 list was like half people who were peddling hate speech. At which point, obviously, Substack became the villain of the story for a short time, but unfortunately people forgot that. Or I feel like a lot of people forgot that. And then, you know, several months to a year, whatever it is later, Twitter comes along and decides to label Substack links as dangerous. And everyone, because everyone hates Twitter, everyone decides that, oh, Substack's the hero of the story. No, Substack is not the hero of this story.
You're jumping off the burning ship onto the ship that's been on fire for several years.
Yeah. I mean, is this a David and Goliath story? Sure. But in both of these cases, David and Goliath are both horrible people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, we're talking pirate pillaging, you know, I'm not going to say the R word, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, they're both guilty of some pretty terrible stuff. Yeah. So no, not heroes in this.
Like, this is like me trying to look at where I should be living. It's like, man, all these places really suck.
But I also want to give brief credit, because I rarely do this, but I got to give credit to Nile, because I loved what he said at the end of this bit, where he says, and I'll quote him again, "You know this is a very bad response to this question, right? You're aware that you blundered into this. You should just say no. And I'm wondering what's keeping you from just saying no." That was such a perfect way to cap it, by just telling the guy, look, you are giving the wrong answers. You are defending the absolute worst things by not taking a stance here. That was a beautiful way to handle it.
Yep. And again, this all, like, the reason, like, we see this over and over again, because the problems don't change, right? Like, all of these people exist. They're going to flock to whatever platform doesn't ban them. And ultimately, like, a lot of this hate speech and like fear mongering is extremely profitable. Like, you look at like the insane amount of money that like Alex Jones gets just from like peddling that we're perpetually a month away from the world is ending, and you need to buy these survival kits I'm selling and all of my supplements that may give you cancer.
Yes.
Like, it's this stuff is so monetizable. Like, I do think about this a lot. Like, if I just had zero, you know, standards or ethics, whatever, it's so easy to make money with this shit. It is these it's such an easy way to latch onto people's emotions and get them to give you anything.
So I always love this as a reference point for what you're saying. And I don't know how many people have heard about this, but if you look into Candace Owens' history, and sorry, this is quickly turning into basically political talk, but if you look into Candace Owens' history, she used to be a pretty serious peddler for left-wing beliefs. She was very adamant about pushing for that stuff. and she was literally going broke doing it. And so she switched sides, and now she's rich. I'm just saying it's not hard to find the connection. Austin's saying start a right-wing beer company. I mean, have you looked at who makes beer? This is that's already a thing.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them. Funny enough, they just make worse beer than everybody else. Wow.
I mean,
somebody at
like...
me for that. I dare you.
Well, I don't drink, so you won't have to worry about me. But other people might come after you. But like, especially if you're like Candace Owens and you get to be a token character, like, oh man, you're set for life. Basically, it's so easy. Like again, so like that's the reason we keep saying this over and over and over again, and why it gets perpetually more ridiculous for people like the CEO here to just be like, I think we'll just, we'll let people decide what they want to see or not. Like, no, you piece of shit. That's not what you do. Especially, again, with Substack, the difference is like it is far more focused on monetization. Like Twitter never really got this right of like trying to help people like build an income stream. Like this is why Patreon has existed for so long, because every other platform was terrible at this. And like Substack's main goal is like funneling you into a paid subscription where they get a cut. So it's pretty cool. And again, like stuff like this, I guess on a like purely ethical level, it's not too different than like someone continuing to use Facebook right now, because like Facebook has also been so bad with a lot of this stuff, but like especially recently, it has made me like roll my eyes a lot at a lot of the like journalist people who are like leaving Twitter, and they're like, guys, this is this terrible place, come find me on Substack. I'm like, no, you're going wrong direction. Like I know you need to make money, and I know that's like part of your calculus here, but I'm like, guys, come on, don't. There's a better way.
Yeah.
And of course, like I was looking at Substack notes for a second. I was like, I guess it is like kind of like Twitter. I see a lot of people I respect like going over there, and I'm like, oh god, it's so bad. It's real bad.
It's funny because very specifically, a few people I don't respect. I still see a lot of their stuff, and I don't. It's not that I have a problem with them. I'm not saying that they're terrible people, but they're just sort of obnoxious in some way, shape, or form, and I won't name check them because they're not bad people. I just don't want to follow them that closely. But I've noticed a lot of them hopping over to Substack because it is a way for them to make money on whatever their kind of content is, and I'm not particularly into it. But yeah, it's funny how many of them have swapped over to Substack because Substack likes to promote you. Substack wants to get as much attention on it as it can, so it is pushing different people, different things, and it has a relatively low barrier of entry for people to get money out of it. Which is also the problem, because that low barrier of entry really enables the worst to start making money quickly.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to watch this repeat over and over again, and it goes back to the fact that a lot of the people who are starting companies like this, a lot of this is the same pool of Silicon Valley money. It's the same pool of like, Peter Thiel's got his hands in like every, so many of these things. So like, it's not surprising it keeps happening, but it's more and more telling of the fact that having standards and being a profitable company are like almost completely at odds. So, Did I go too socialist on you, Cody? I'm sorry.
No. I was gonna say I don't think they have to be at odds, but I also just can't think of any good example where that contradicts that.
Right.
Like, I always want to credit, I always want to try to come up with some company I could credit as, oh, see, there are exceptions. Like, there's someone who's okay, and then it's like, yeah, but I can't think of anyone. Damn it. I mean, the best I could hope for is like maybe Google, and even then, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, there could be so much better.
Yeah. So that was just a very funny thing, and it was probably the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. So thanks for the laughs, Substack CEO. I will try to never use your service. And
I can genuinely say I don't remember the last time I opened a Substack link. So yeah,
I have like 2 or 3 in my Feedly because they do support RSS, but those aren't like overly active. I think so. Yes, there's like one more thing we want to do, and then I probably need to leave.
Okay. Just as a side note, The Verge finally started loading those articles, so the Elon Musk threatens Microsoft is also, I guess, back on the table. If you care to talk about that, or were you feeling more like the Apple savings thing, or the Pixel tablet dock, or?
I guess the Apple Card thing, maybe. It's not that long. But actually, I mean, the source for that was actually Apple's website. Let me see if I can.
Oh, okay.
Here it is.
I have the Mac Rumors page open, but
put this in the. Yeah. So yeah, Apple continues its expansion into being a bank. Or at least making it seem like they're a bank. All of these services are run through Goldman Sachs, except I think they do have a banking subsidiary that runs some of this. I forget exactly what it does. I think that's the one that runs Apple Cash. I believe that's just like, you're like, it's Apple's like PayPal balance kind of thing. You can just like send and receive money to people I think that's the one that's the Apple subsidiary, but all of the like credit card stuff and the new savings stuff is going through Goldman Sachs. And my webcam just froze. Okay, there we go. So Apple has now announced that they have savings accounts now. And they are tied into Apple Card. So if you have an Apple Card, they now have the Apple Card, just like basically every other credit card. There is a certain level of cash back that varies. And before now, that cash back was just dumped into your Apple Cash, and then you could just move that to a bank account or use it to pay someone or whatever. But with this, they've updated that, so you have the option of dumping your cash back into a bank account that has a annual percentage rate of 4.15%, which is pretty good. It's not like the highest of any service, but that's it's a lot better than my savings account, which is something I need to address eventually. But
yeah, so just for a reference point, if you go looking, and I actually just looked for this a couple of days ago, about the highest you're gonna find is just a smidge over 5% APY, and very few are hitting that high. Most of them in the high yield territory are usually hitting about 4%. So Apple is, I would say, trying to squeak by the vast majority, but only barely. But there are still a few beating them.
Yeah. And yeah, and the weird thing about this is because it's Apple's banking stuff is very weird because they're doing it in their usual like lockdown way, but even more lockdown than a lot of the other Apple stuff. So like I there so like Apple Card itself has like a very limited like web interface. So like that's kind of, and of course like there's no like Apple Bank you go to if you have like a problem. You need to call up Goldman Sachs basically.
Yeah.
So and this is kind of an extension on that where it's a savings account. I was looking through some of the terms because I was trying to write about this, but I don't know a lot of the words. But it is interesting that this is technically a savings account and it works like one, but it does not support wire transfers and you can't directly put cash into this through any method. So like unlike a bunch of other like really any other account, like there's no Apple ATM for you to go to and put in your $100 and have it go into the savings. All of this is done through the Apple Wallet app, which is really only on iPhones. So this is a savings account that you can only access through one type of phone. So it's very weird. But you know, I guess if you really want to dump a lot of your money into an account you can only access with like one type of device, you can do that.
Yeah. So,
but it does seem like this is more just like this is a thing you pick to dump your cash back into, and it like very slowly accumulates versus like without the savings account, it just sits in your Apple Wallet until you transfer it to something else.
Right. So, in practical terms, because of the way it works, I didn't see. I didn't look super closely at all the details, but I didn't see anything implying that there was like a limit to the number of transfers you can make or anything like that. But as far as I can tell, basically what you could do, you can move money into this via the wallet app. It's not like it.
Yeah.
It's not like it has to be all from cashback and things like that. Because I have seen special savings accounts that are based on that sort of method where, I remember a credit card offer I had once that was one of those things where it rounds up everything, and whatever change you get back goes into like a high yield savings account, but the only way to put money into it was by the roundup process, which was dumb. Anyway, it's not like that, and so you can kind of move money around. And the reason I bring this up is kind of in relation to Carson's comment of this isn't meant to be your primary bank account. That's entirely true, but it can almost be if you use your Apple Card as your only method of payment for a lot of things.
Right.
Because you could basically just use your Apple Card all the time and then move as much money as you need to from the savings account into your wallet account or the Apple Pay account, Apple Cash, sorry. You can move everything to the Apple Cash account in order to pay your monthly bill. So you do have this option. It really actually could be your primary bank account, with the notable exception or challenge of however your employer pays you, or however you get money, because you probably still need an account with some other institution in order to make that work. But
yeah,
so it could still be effectively your primary account, and you just need one other bank account to act as sort of a transfer station. That being said, you need to be deep in the Apple Kool-Aid to commit all of your money into a thing that you can only access through an iPhone. So
yeah, I mean, like I look at something like this, and even though I am using an iPhone most of the time, it's like I don't really want to like be looking at my money from my iPhone necessarily. Like, it's nice to check my bank account on my computer screen, which is larger, and I can look at more things at once. Like, it's just it's very like usually when Apple has like stuff that's exclusive to them, there's at least like a Mac equivalent, or they have a kind of functional website. Like the iCloud website mostly works these days.
Okay, I don't
Or
disagree
there's
with
some
that.
other weird way of accessing it. Like Apple Podcast doesn't have like a Windows app, but it's through like the music and iTunes apps on Windows. But
Oh, okay. So regarding specifically the Mac app part of what you said, so obviously they don't have a Mac app for Apple Pay. That much is obvious. But you do have a web interface where you can go in and pay your bill and things like that. That wasn't always true.
yeah,
For a long time, for I think it was at least the first year, the only way you could pay your Apple Card was actually on an iPhone. You had to do everything through an iPhone. And there are actually a lot of things. It's funny, very coincidentally, I was just listening to a podcast from it's like 5 years ago. And it was a bunch of Apple fans basically complaining about, I think it was the Reminders app, because it was decent on iPhone, it was completely garbage on Mac. And then they listed like 2 other apps, and these are pretty serious Apple fans who are talking about this, and they're basically saying, yeah, like the experience of using these particular apps on a Mac is terrible. Like the apps are buggy, they don't work, they don't sync well with the iPhone. And the iPhone apps were in varying degrees of dislike also. But yeah, I mean, Apple really does have a long-standing history of pushing things to the iPhone first, and then somewhere, someday, they'll do it to the Mac too. Or they'll make it a web interface, or they'll come up with something. But they do like to wait. They like to they want to drag it out as much as possible because, again, it's the usual, it'll bring more people to the iPhone that way. And so
right.
I have a feeling eventually this will be accessible through the web interface, but I wouldn't bet on it happening anytime in under a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's to that point. Also, the same thing happened with iMessage, where you'd have the never-ending problem of people switching from iPhone to Android, and not thinking to disable iMessage first, and then they're like, "What? Where'd all my text messages go? Why are people sending me texts and I'm not getting them?" Oh, it's because your phone number is still connected to Apple's servers, and you need to go find an iPhone and put your SIM in that, and then shut that down.
Yeah, which yikes.
Yeah, that was insane. So yes, this is just kind of a weird thing. Carson left some comments. He said, yeah, I'm getting 4%. I assume that's savings with SoFi, but you only get that rate if you set up direct deposit. I believe Apple's, everyone gets the 15% rate.
That's,
but
yeah.
Obviously you have to, yeah. Carson said, if it has a routing number, you should be able to set up direct deposit. I don't know if it does.
One, generally speaking, that would be true, though I believe with high yield savings accounts, that's not necessarily always the case. And moreover, it may have a routing number. That doesn't mean that they give it to you.
Yeah, because they have built this in where you can do, you can transfer stuff in the bank, but it happens through the wallet app. So in theory, they don't have to expose that at all. You just log in with your, Bank of America into the wallet app, and then you press the button.
Yeah. And as far as I know, there's no laws strictly dictating that accounts like this have to give you a routing number. So there's nothing that necessarily says that you will be able to do this, even if such a thing exists.
Yeah, I think the best use case for this is just letting your cash back from your Apple Card. If you use an Apple Card, just sit in there for a while and pull it out when you want to.
Yeah. I would either do that do that and just set up a high yield savings account somewhere else, especially
which is
one of those places that gives an even higher rate.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing like the Apple Card too, where like even that like doesn't make a lot of sense in a lot of use cases, especially the lock-in where you get the same benefits, if not better, than like from a lot of normal cards, and every other company will just give you a give you a card and an account that works on literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do need to set up a actual savings account somewhere like this, because mine is the big bank default of like 0.2.
Yeah, the nothing point
interest or-
nothing
that yeah.
minimal rounding error accounts. Yeah.
So it's just so it's just like a second checking account I have that has a bigger number.
Yeah. No, I believe me. I once I have enough to throw in there, one of the very first things that I'd like to do is the same thing. That being said, the savings account that I have right now exists largely to avoid paying a like regular maintenance fees at my bank.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the only reason why a lot of people even have a savings account, is you throw whatever their minimum number is in there and just let it sit there so that you don't have to pay a $10 maintenance fee every month or whatever it would be.
Yeah. Yeah, and Carson linked a Reddit thread where some people are having success with direct deposit into Apple Card savings accounts, but other people are having difficulties.
That's sus.
Yeah.
This is not something that should be unpredictable.
I love it when my money doesn't work. I'm joking about that, but I'm sure Wells Fargo will find a way.
Though, if you can use it as at least one person is saying that they were able to add it as a direct deposit destination. So that is good. I mean, that at least if it can be direct deposit, that's a viable way to use this. And so I still wouldn't recommend it, but you could use this as your primary banking account. Basically almost a complete replacement for a checking account, as long as you don't actually have to write checks, because who the hell still does that? But the counterpoint, if someone steals your phone, and especially if someone can access your phone, if someone can access it, you're screwed. Your money's gone. But if someone even steals your phone, you don't have access to your money until like or steals
like,
your
yeah,
phone,
you, like,
or
you
if
go
you
to
drop it somewhere like and destroy your phone, until you get a new phone, you don't have access to your money. Notably, yes, you could still have your Apple Card, your physical metal card, but
right, that's not going to help you when you need to make a payment.
I mean, it'll help you buy lunch, but it's not going to help you with a lot of other things. So yeah, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, if I'm in the camp of trying to think of reasons this would be better than like a normal bank, I will say Apple's two-factor authentication is better than most banks. Most banks don't know what that is.
Yes.
Which is really fun and cool.
Or their method of two-factor authentication is the most generic, simplified thing that they could possibly do.
Yeah.
And usually easily tricked by, SIM jacking.
Yep.
Something that every T-Mobile customer should probably be constantly aware of.
Yeah.
Not like others aren't having problems with this too, but holy crap, T-Mobile.
Yeah, so kind of a weird thing going on there. This did remind me to actually apply for an Apple Card, which I do have now. So when if the USB-C iPhone turns out to be true, I will use this for that. and probably nothing else. Because I think my current card, it has 3% cash back for a decent amount of stuff, like food and some travel stuff, and then of course the 1% for everything else. Apple's is weird because it gives you 1% for everything else with the physical card, and then 2% for everything else through Apple Pay, and then you get the 3% with like Apple and a handful of other companies.
Yeah.
So overall, like, doesn't really make sense for me, probably, unless they can get like McDonald's on that 3%. Maybe I have a reason to use it.
I have multiple cards.
3% for my TurboTax, something.
Oh boy. Now I have multiple cards, each one with usually some sort of really high return rate, between 3 and 5%, depending on where it's used. But at large, yeah, it's a pain to juggle. And actually, I have at least one card that's about to close the account because it hasn't been used in so long. I do have an Apple card because why not? I don't have the physical card. I never ordered that. I probably should. Though I don't know that I would ever use it. That's kind of the thing. I don't know that I'll ever actually use the physical card for anything because the 1% back on the card is garbage. Every other card out there offers that, so
right.
There's no point to it. But yeah, at the same time, maybe having the card may come in handy someday for some reason. But I also don't actively use an iPhone, so I guess not.
Yeah, like if you're the person using this as your only bank account, then you need the card.
Yeah. Well, technically, if you live in the right place and only go to tap and pay terminals, you don't need the card. But yeah,
as soon as you go to a Walmart, you're just screwed. You cannot buy anything.
Oh God, no kidding. No, actually, that's not true. Again, as long as you have your phone, you can use the Walmart app with Walmart Pay, because that is a thing in their app. You can
find the routing number.
Yeah.
In the Apple Wallet.
Let's see. Can you use? I think the Walmart Pay app might be able to use your Apple credit card. I think.
Maybe.
I'm not sure on that, but I think that might be a thing. Anyway.
I mean, I have seen that in a couple apps that will do the like Android Pay, Apple Pay.
Oh no. It's not like it's not using. Okay, so you would still need. Wait, do you still need a card? Okay, you do get, when you get an Apple card, you do get a number. Yeah. So even if you don't have the physical card, when you just get the account, you get a number. So yeah, you could just enter those details into there and it would count. So it's going as if it's hitting the account. It's not going through Apple Pay, the service. It's going through the Apple card. So right. Yeah, you can do that. At least I'm pretty sure you can do that. I don't see why not. So strictly speaking, you could go to Walmart. You would just have to use their dumb, terrible app with the QR code. I think that's what it uses, and scan it at their terminals. Which, come on, Walmart, grow up. Just join the rest of the world, please.
Yeah. So, of course, I should have got the card before I bought all this Apple garbage, but I ironically the iPhone was the last Apple thing I bought, which you need for the card. So.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You can get an Apple card without having an iPhone now. Well, sorry. You can get these. You can get the account without having an iPhone. You cannot order the physical metal card without an iPhone. You have to have the iPhone for the physical card, which is what the hell? I don't get this logic, but okay.
Yeah, and I got the and like realistically, I think the only device I bought through Apple directly was the Mac Mini and the iPhone.
It's a lot.
Everything else, yeah, yeah, but like everything else was like on sale at a different store.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, and a lot of times those
My,
sales are almost as good as getting the cash back, if not
yeah,
sometimes
or better. Yeah, yeah. Like the Apple Watch I got was had a pretty decent savings off, and then the MacBook I got at Best Buy. I think it was like 100, 200 off something. So yeah. Oh well, you know. No, so yeah, it's kind of a weird thing going on there, and just I sort of feel also like this a little bit with stuff like Cash App, where there is an increasing number of services like this that are like proto banks, but are very difficult to access on like general stuff. Like I believe Cash App is still only accessible on like Android and iOS. Like there's not really like a web panel, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there is. You can't do as much with it. But
okay.
Yeah, no, there definitely is. I actually screwed with a scammer on this for a while. I mean, I drugged this person through a few hours of torture over a few days because they were trying to get me to use Cash App to send them some Bitcoin. Anyway,
nice.
But yeah, you can do a lot through the web interface, like basic things, but you can't do stuff like buying Bitcoin. At least I don't think you can. I guess I could check that right now. But yeah, it definitely has services. You can go there. I believe you can pay somebody. You can obviously you can move your money around. You can send it out to your bank account, things like that. But that's about it. It's a pretty limited set of features compared to what they have in the app.
Yeah, so it's interesting to watch this happen, and also just sort of a result of smartphones becoming primary computers for most people.
Yeah. Well, so I will give a little bit of credit to this, not just because it's smart for Apple to do this, but I will give a little bit of validity to it on the basis that if you don't treat it as a primary account, because I think that's a terrible idea, you'd have to be nuts to do it. There is one credible value to it. If you're just kind of on the lazy side and you don't want to manually go to your accounts and move money around and wait for them to sit in transfers for multiple days and things like that, and you have enough money that you don't need to, be paranoid about where it is at each moment. This is a convenient thing in the sense that if you have money sitting in your Apple Cash account, just have the high yield savings account, toss the money in there, and leave it there and kind of forget it. If you come back in a few months and it's gone up a little bit, hooray, you've made money. Or, well, you haven't suffered as much from inflation as other people have. Let's say that. So your money didn't devalue as quickly as it did for others.
Yeah.
So, then go ahead and do something with it. You can use it as your extra, like, saving up for a special treat or saving for a rainy day. Like, it can be that thing where you just toss the little bits of extra in there so that you don't have to deal with them some other way. And that is kind of a convenient thing. It is a value to this. Again, I certainly wouldn't rely on it. I wouldn't use it as a primary, but hey, you absolutely could get some value out of doing this, just as the convenient thing that all you have to do is like tap 2 or 3 times and the money just goes in there and saves or, gains value. The one sad thing, and I know that I shouldn't call this sad, but I just gotta say it. Apple would have been super cool. And I would actually like actively defend this if all they had done is said, you know what? Now your Apple Cash account is a high yield savings account. That's it. If you have money sitting there and it sits there for a month, we just give you the 4.15% right there. That would have made me a cheerleader for this. Just upgrade the existing account to this, and I will sing the praises of it all day long. And again, you know, the money would have to sit there for a month to earn that, but so whatever your lowest account balance is, that would be where you make your interest, but that would be fine. No one would complain about that, and it would make everyone happier. But no, they won't do that.
Yeah. You know what would get me to use Apple Card also is the cashback at like Target, because Target's thing for forever has been they have their own card, but I really don't want to get that because they've had a lot of security problems over the years.
Run by T-Mobile.
Yeah. That's the like T-Mobile has a savings account now. I'm like, not touching that with the 10-foot stick. Holy shit.
Oh, T-Mobile, we mess with you because, well, we don't like you either. We mess with you because you suck. But thank you for trying.
At this point, I really do think there's just a sticky note with the password to the servers. Like, I don't even know if it's like in the IT guy's office. It might just be like in the cafeteria somewhere.
Oh no,
T-Mobile headquarters. It's like password admin.
Okay, no, I was gonna say it is absolutely in the head of IT's office, but he's on the ground floor with a window. Like, people can just walk up and like peer through the window. You know, they have to go to the trouble of using their hand to cup the cup over their eye and block out the glare, and then they can see the super secret password.
Yeah. it's gotta be something like that.
Oh geez, it's adorable that they just keep failing. Oh geez. But yeah, so still, I do think this is neat. I just wish Apple had done it a little differently. Actually, I wish they'd done a lot differently on it, like not make it strictly an iPhone only thing, but whatever.
Yeah, because they're kind of just like a catch-all company at this point. Like, I don't really know why you do this, but whatever. They're just weird decision making over there sometimes. But yeah, so I think that's probably it for me. I need to get going.
All right. Well, do you have any
Plugs?
Okay, yeah. Do you have any final words or pitches or anything like that you want to quickly make?
I can say I have a Patreon again. I restarted that. I'll put a link in the chat. That's mostly for my software stuff, because these days I'm running more things that have fixed costs. Like I have a VPS for one thing, and of course, like a bunch of domains and all that fun stuff. So I don't feel quite as weird about taking people's money and, in theory, like maybe going a month without really working on much, because it still costs money to keep some of this stuff running. So that's what I tell my brain when it gets upset. So yeah, so that's importantly, that's not really for like any tactile stuff. I'm not like gonna think about that kind of stuff for tactiles yet. because usually with podcasts and that kind of thing, people expect like exclusive stuff for the people who pay, but I cannot do that at this time. That's not going to happen. That would be like several hours of my work for something that like 2 people might listen to at the scale Tech Tales is at right now, if that. So yeah, that's mostly for the software stuff. And when you sign up, I do write a blog post every month saying what I did, so you know what you're paying for, I guess. And I try to make it interesting. Like talk about some decision making stuff, but yep, so that's there now. And also listen to Tech Tales. I have had time to work on Tech Tales recently. I've chosen not to because I keep getting distracted. So no news on the Tech Tales front recently, but I do have to try to finish the Internet Explorer series that is now dragged on for like 8 months.
Wasn't your goal to have that finished by, what was it, mid-May?
It's like June or July.
June?
I forget when
Okay.
when
There was a 2-year anniversary on Tech Tales, and I know you were trying to not overshoot that, but
yeah. So if I go to my tracks and see when the first one was uploaded, it was July 14th. That's the 2-year mark.
okay.
I think we can do it before July. I think that should be doable.
Interesting day for odd reasons. Yeah, well, we will certainly knock that out, and at some point in theory, we may also do some more movie reviews for Tech Tales.
Yes, I do want to do those. I can't wait for the inevitable like 5-hour long episode about Tron Legacy. That will be absolutely insufferable, but it's my podcast, damn it. I'm gonna make my thoughts known.
What'll be funny is if there's ever an episode that's shorter than the movie it's discussing.
That's true.
I suppose it's hard to say too much about this when you've only done one of these so far, but it'll be funny when we knock out a few more movies.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I do have a list of the movies I'd like to get to. It's more just I don't, Tech Tales is usually averaging like 1 or 2 episodes a month, and I not have more than like one ongoing task, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like I like there hasn't been a time period where I've got like right now I've got the Internet Explorer series, and I've just been alternating that, working on one-off episodes. There's not like an IE series and then another series or 2 series and like another, like I'm not, that's too much to keep track of. That makes my brain hurt. So once we're clear of the IE stuff, there will be more opportunity, or I'll cover another thing that's going to take 15 episodes. like don't want to see what happens if I ever try to cover the Elon buying Twitter. My goodness.
I was gonna say, yeah, that one. That's
a book. That is a Lord of the Rings length book.
This is why I keep telling you need to do quote unquote seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Just
well, I basically do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're basically doing it already. May as well just actually call them seasons.
It just alternates with other things, because I figure maybe there's some people who want to hear about something other than a web browser for a period of 6 months. Because if I try to do like all this at once, it would just be like 2 or 3 months of nonstop IE, or 4 months. I don't know. So
I mean, that's what it felt like using it.
I try to give myself a break from IE.
Yeah. So
eventually that will end.
Yeah, and that's good. we'll definitely be knocking out some more Tech Tales episodes for sure. Really quick before you go, and you don't have to actually stay with this, I just figured I'd bring it up because it's kind of interesting, I guess. And apparently this was only announced like minutes before we got on the chat, but Codium, no relation. It is an AI-powered coding assistant for writing code. Apparently they are launching their own chat feature, AI chat. It is apparently a free plugin for VS Code right now, and I guess this just happened today. So, everyone knows I'm not the biggest fan of AI, like generative AI and chatbot stuff. But I will say, and I still stand behind this, the best thing about these is a lot of times just saving you from looking up boilerplate stuff. So I do kind of credit that. Being able to just say, how do I write, I don't know, like write a function for me that takes in 3 values of these types and adds them together as strings if none of them were originally strings. I don't know, whatever. That's actually a terrible example, but whatever, you know. How do I write an adapter class for Android that works with this type? Like that kind of thing is super handy because it's there are like 1,000 questions on Stack Overflow that cover this. You don't want to take the time to look through a dozen of them and pick out the one that kind of closely fits your thing if you can just use a tool that sort of automates it. You still got to read through the code, make sure it makes sense and works, but saving you on the time of doing boilerplate code is kind of great. That being said, it also kind of sucks for Stack Overflow because their viewership or their page views are going to plummet with these types of tools because they're basically just trained on Stack Overflow.
Yeah, I've tried to experiment with this to an extent of my results so far with these AI tools have been like fine, but I've not asked it to do very complex stuff, so I'm sure that's part of it. Again, just like with like writing stuff, the most success I've seen has been using these for transformation. Like, here's a block of code. It's JavaScript. Can you make it like the more modern JavaScript? Fine. But yeah.
Yeah, so far, anything that I've asked it to do, I've never had a truly successful instance of using this. And I've tried it enough times now that I feel like it's actually weird that I haven't had anything come across as successful. Admittedly, several of my attempts did involve AppleScript, which apparently, holy crap, it's terrible at. But with that said, the thing I have had some luck with is, again, like I said, boilerplate stuff where it doesn't matter what specifically you're doing, you still have to have like 3 functions that have this type of like these parameters going into it. They have to call these sets of things, they have to be shaped in this way, that sort of stuff. Typically it gets right. It's usually pretty good at those things. So that's what I find handy. It's a replacement for searching. It's not a replacement for thinking or doing the code. It's a replacement for searching for the thing that's already written somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that the VS Code thing is interesting because that's also been one of the selling points for GitHub Copilot, which is sort of the slightly more, I don't know if official is the right word for this, but Microsoft/GitHub's code thing.
Yeah. Though Copilot X, which is where their biggest features are also very much a paid-only feature. So
yeah.
Yeah, and Codium, as far as I can tell, or Codium Chat, as far as I can tell, is free. I think it's free. I don't actually know how these guys make money.
It'll be
they have
free.
a pricing page. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Their enterprise stuff is what they charge for. Otherwise, I guess individuals get free. Okay.
So they're pulling a Windows.
Something like that, I guess. But yeah, so the catch for me is I don't use VS Code basically at all. I would much prefer that this was in Visual Studio for Mac, which is close enough to the same thing that you'd think they just have made that jump, but they don't. So here we are. That, and for God's sakes, please, they supposedly support Swift, but I can't find any way to actually use or to get their thing to do Swift. So yeah, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, figured I'd bring that up.
Neat. I will not use it.
Yeah.
I don't really have a need for much of this stuff. But yeah, maybe if it gets better.
Yeah, I get that.
So yeah. Well, have a good night, everyone. I'm gonna find food now.
All right.
Farewell.
Good luck hunting in the urban playground.
Thank you. Farewell.
All right. So let's see. I suppose I will leave that open and in place. I'm moving that tab there because I need to look into it later just for giggles. We'll move that one up there. Doing quick tab management all over the place. Clearing out the topics. Okay. So let's see. I suppose we could go to the let's just talk about the dumb drama levels of things. Because what else is this show other than talking about the dumb drama of the tech world? I guess speaking of AI, that's also a convenient transition into Elon Musk is threatening to sue Microsoft. In his transition to be Trump, and accusing everyone of doing something evil to him and thus suing everyone, or at least threatening to sue everyone, because after all, he is a feckless turd. Elon Musk is threatening to sue Microsoft because, as he is claiming, Microsoft illegally used Twitter's API in the process of training its Bing chatbot. Yes, apparently that is a claim, which sounds about as stupid as Reddit claiming that AI chatbots were using Reddit as their sources for a bunch of stuff. Look, I'm not saying that they definitely didn't. In fact, they probably did. But if you're building a tool that autocompletes, like it is a large language model that autocompletes, basically, yeah, I really would not be basing anything on the two worst places for grammar on the internet, Twitter and Reddit. But whatever. So I don't know what I didn't see if he was claiming an amount. No, he's not. But yeah, so his petty bickering and random craziness is presumably going to now take on one of the more dangerous companies to sue. Not as dangerous as Epic. I mean, Apple learned that lesson the hard way. But yeah, I would kind of enjoy watching this legal battle. Let's see. Carson, Google suing Twitter for allowing their developers to search for help while building features. Yeah. That would be actually kind of hilarious. But anyway, well, let's be honest. If anyone working at Twitter is using Google to search for anything, it's probably searching for another job. And probably also searching for ways to extend your visa stay if your employer is crazy. So anyway, one of the funny things about this, and I don't believe it's mentioned here. I suppose, let's see. Where I want to double check this because I don't think the Verge article mentions this. Okay, does not. So one of the funny things about this is, and I bet this would actually be if Elon Musk were to be smart, or rather if his lawyers are smart and become aware of this. What's funny is Microsoft is one of, I believe, like 6 or 7 companies that has I don't know if this is still true, but they used to have a direct feed of Twitter. They had the literal fire hose of every tweet that came across Twitter. I'm assuming there was probably some amount of filtering that happened, but many years ago, it came out that Microsoft was one of several companies that was paying Twitter some amount of money to just have a constant feed. Presumably, and it was never specified, but presumably the reason for this is they wanted tweets to show up in search results. So needless to say, Google would have also been one of these companies. I personally remember this because I once interviewed for Bing. I went down to Microsoft offices in the Bay Area, interviewed for Bing, and they brought it up. It was just a random side conversation at the time. But it also has come out in news since. It's not exactly a big secret. But I kind of wonder what the terms of that deal are, and whether or not they would even specifically prohibit behavior like training an AI model on tweets. I kind of have a funny feeling that not only, it's possible if they somehow have a policy about this already written into the contract, maybe that would matter. On the other hand, it's possible that their contract basically allows Microsoft to do mostly whatever it wants as long as it's not strictly republishing or trying to copy Twitter's content value. Neither of which I would say their chatbot is doing. So, that being said, I bet not only would he have no grounds for a lawsuit, it's very possible a lawsuit would not even have anything to complain about. But we shall see. I have a funny feeling no lawsuit will ever actually come of this. It's just Musk getting musky at people. Making up whatever complaint he can. So, yeah. I don't have much more to say on that. I just think it's a funny thing, and Corbin also brought it up earlier. And I don't think either of us really knew what we were going to say about it, but that's what I have. Damn it. And I dropped the thing I was fiddling with. Yeah, but I do see it at least. Okay, so the leak has come out about the Pixel tablet standalone charging dock. $129. Look. Okay, so before I give my response, actually no, I'm gonna give my response to this. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? $129 for a dock? It's a mediocre speaker with a Qi charger built in. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What degree What low quality crack have you got to be smoking to think you can charge $130 for a mediocre speaker? I'm assuming a Bluetooth speaker, but we'll see. No chi. No chi at all. You serious? Wait, are you kidding me? That can't be right, right? I mean, that cannot be true. Okay, yeah, some dumb comment about it hasn't been certified for chi. Oh, they gotta have chi in there. Okay, I guess they don't have to, but they really should. Also, what the... Oh, this is so increasingly stupid. Okay, they say it'll be released May 10th, same day as I.O. Let's see. Let's see. It's more expensive than the $99 Nest Hub. Yeah, that's what I was going to specifically complain about. Which, this is also fundamentally my biggest problem with the product and how everyone has been talking about it. One of the big comments that I've seen it on the Discord server. People are talking about the prices they think it'll be or how much they'd be willing to pay for this. I think you're all willing to pay too much for this. Or you're at least accepting that it should be higher than it. I personally think it should be. Now, I do agree it has to be more expensive than a Nest Hub. That's a given. I'm okay with that. I don't object to that at all. But I do think, like, I've seen... What's the highest I think I've seen? I want to say 450, I think somebody said. It can't be anywhere near that. If this is anywhere over 250, I think it would be madness. Frankly, I think 250 is too high. I think if they want to make this thing successful, the dock combined with tablet together, you might think I'm nuts here, I think should be $199. Now, I don't know, maybe I don't know the exact size of the display. I don't know what hardware they're going to put into it. Maybe this is really going to be a much better tablet than I'm expecting. But all the early talk suggested that this was going to be a fairly budget tablet. If it's going to be pretty budget, then I feel like the intent, and I mean, we've talked about this on the channel for a long time. The goal, in my mind, is to come out with a Nest Hub that has or something that is fundamentally a Nest Hub, but you can pick it up and it's a like a low-end, well, a budget Android tablet. Not a ton of power. Like, it can be used as a cast target. It can be used for a little bit of web browsing. But I would not recommend playing games on it and things like that. Nope, it's Google Premium. I don't know if that's a joke or not, but it definitely feels like an appropriately it feels it feels like a proper burn, honestly. But yeah, to me the move here is not to go high end. Now, that's not to say that they couldn't make both. I'm totally in favor of them making both. But I think they would do so much better if they just came right out and said, look, the goal here is to make something that replaces the Nest Hub not completely replaces, like it'll still be more expensive, but something that is a spiritual Nest Hub. It should have a docking experience that's comparable to the Nest Hub, similar if not exactly the same, and it should be not aggressively more expensive. And if this dock itself is more expensive than a whole Nest Hub, that's obviously just never going to happen. So yeah, I'm not feeling a ton of confidence about this. So yeah, that's my take on it. Really not feeling great about that price point though. Though I am hoping, I don't think this is going to be the case, but I am hoping that when they when they sell the tablet, I'm hoping that what they do with it is give it basically an option to bundle the dock for obscenely cheap. So in other words, go ahead and buy the tablet for whatever price. I'm not even going to say what price. And then make a bundle that is the tablet plus the dock for just like $40 more. And then this absolutely ridiculous $129, that's what you would pay if you just need to replace the dock. Which is still stupid. They shouldn't charge that much, but 9 to 5 claims the dock is included. Okay, that's fine. Either way, the one thing I don't like about that, and I will say I actually do prefer that they make a version without an included dock. The reason I would like to see that is I think there genuinely are going to be people who will never use the dock. And I'd like to not see that be just another piece of e-waste. So, yeah, let's see. Austin, you think Google is comparing this to the base 10th gen iPad in terms of market positioning? Yikes. I know they can, but I don't see a winning strategy to taking on an iPad with this product as it stands today. You'd really need to see Android apps taking a big step up in terms of tablet friendliness. And I don't think that's going to happen. That's the constant issue with all of these things is you can do something budget today, and I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. But if you're going more like high end, or even kind of competing with a product line that's of the higher end, which I guess is the right way to describe Apple's lineup of iPads, you have to have a better app ecosystem going for this product. And I don't think they have that. So something in the more budget territory makes a lot more sense. And I think it's more approachable for a lot of people, especially as so many people are making so much less money right now. So yeah, I'm not in love with this as a sign of what's to come for price. However, I will give one bit of counterpoint to this, and it is if this turns out to be a really great speaker, I don't think it will be, but if by some chance it turns out to be a really great speaker, it'll be maybe worth it. I mean, $129 is still expensive for this size of speaker. We don't know I don't think we know what's inside of it, so it's hard to say, but yeah, I mean, at this size, whatever, like, you can't judge size too much from the shape, but okay, so Roland Quant saying the Pixel tablet is going to be one of the sizes. I'm going to assume that's the larger one. Is going to be 600 to 650 euro. Holy crap. Though that's also, euro is unpredictable because sometimes it has a pretty close relationship to what the USD pricing is. Other times it'll end up being like drastically more expensive there because of import taxes or whatever. So I'm not quite prepared to predict too much there. But yeah, there's no way it's going to be cheap even at that. Austin, okay, you have dimensions saying it's basically 6.5 inches tall. Or, oh, no, that'd be wide. Wait, so it's not even 4 inches tall. Should be about like that. That would put it... Okay, it'd still be bigger than a Google Home. The original Google Home. But not by a lot. And it's also got this very specific shape to it that wouldn't be very compatible with a wide directionality. Yeah, this thing's not going to be a great speaker. It'll be okay. It'll be better than like a mini, but that's not really saying too much. Yeah, they're overcharging for this, like a lot. Almost identical to the Nest Hub Gen 2. I know I've got a first gen Nest Hub, so it's not the same, but yeah, even just looking at it, that's not enough for a good speaker. That's too much. Just inherently, there's no way 129 is even remotely approachable to a good price for this. They're overcharging. If this ends up being what it comes out for. Though if it's also bundled with the tablet, and if the tablet's not so aggressively overpriced, maybe that makes sense, but yeah, I just don't feel it. This seems way too high. Hoopy, my pet theory is they don't want to actually sell the stand separately, and this is might as well charge a lot for the few that want it. Yeah, and that's basically what I was saying before about, like, if you need to replace one, this is the price you would pay. Well, buy it separately, replace it. If you want extras, like to have in different rooms of the house, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sorry, I just can't look at this and not think that it's still too expensive, even if it's just the extra charge. Difference between Nest Hub and Nest Hub Max. Max is quite a bit bigger side by side. Well, yeah, I sure hope so. But very legitimately, you don't even have to increase screen size a whole lot to make the back much bigger by comparison, and that allows for a lot more speaker to be put in there. Whether or not no matter what, this is not going to be great speakers. It's definitely not going to be worth it for the price, and that's where I think the problem lies. Especially because also it's not obvious from this picture, but if you have a Nest Hub readily available, you can turn the side towards you and look at the pitch, the angle of this thing. Obviously, yeah, the larger it is, the more you can put in there, but you've got to figure the top roughly 20% is effectively unusable for anything audio related. Which means that you're only going, like, whatever it is, that means you're fitting all of your audio into basically like about a 2.75 inch space, maybe side by side, but still, yeah, that's just not a lot. You're not going to get a ton of sound out of this, and that does not feel good to me. I think they're making, well, I don't want to say mistake, because hey, if someone will pay for this, 100% there will be people that pay for an extra dock because they can, or because they might have to for some reason, like maybe the dock gets knocked off and lands in some water or something. But oh, hey, good. Okay, here's a broken out, what's this from? A Nest Hub or Nest Hub Max? I'm guessing this would just be a regular Nest Hub. So they only have one speaker. And for anyone that can't tell, this is literally each layer kind of accordioned out. So this top layer here is the display. Just below it is the metal frame, it appears. Below that is the back plastic of the display. Then we have, of course, the fabric that houses the whole thing, or houses the back of it. And then, oh, that's a Gen 1 hub. Okay, so same thing I have. Anyway, and then here is the speaker that fits inside of this whole thing. So the speaker is, yeah, it's not taking a ton of space. I mean, it's definitely some. But yeah, that isn't giving you a lot at all. And it doesn't look like it's, I don't see any sign that it's facing both directions, so not that I'd expect it to, but yeah, this does not, it's not going to produce a lot of sound. I think this is going to be a disappointing, dock. I mean, obviously, maybe they found ways to improve on it with the one that they're going to sell here, but I don't see them making it worth. They're not going to make it worth that much more. This is not going to suddenly be one of those things where everyone says, "Ooh, this sounds so great." No. And in fact, one of the things I brought up a long time ago, and it has stuck with me. I'm fully hoping that one of the things Google will do is make a dock that can survive multiple generations of tablets. The idea being, buy the dock and tablet today, and then be able to just upgrade only the tablet tomorrow and have them kind of persist in that path. Yeah, which obviously reduces e-waste, has a lot of other advantages. Not quite sure what this shows. Is that just a... Why is... Okay. No, I guess that makes sense. That's just their sound chamber. But yikes. Okay. Oops. So, yeah, but I like the idea of reducing e-waste. I like the idea of speaker faces one side only. Yeah, that also bothers me. It makes sense in a lot of ways because you're probably going to put this thing more or less against walls. You're probably not going to put it in the middle of a room. But, you know, that also reduces the directionality of your audio. 5.25 by 2.25 by 4. Huh. Yeah, this just does not feel like it's gonna be good. So, but yeah, the thing I kept hoping for is that they were going to make basically a really good dock to go with a mediocre tablet. And that way, down the line, people could just buy a new tablet, throw away the old one, or hand it down, or do whatever with it. And that would just be the product. Evidently, that's not what they're going to go for here, and that honestly is disappointing. I was really hoping that this would turn into the good dock scenario, but we're not going to see that, I guess. But hey, first generation problems, I kind of get it. I am still choosing to believe that's what's happening with the Pixel Watch. I'm really optimistic and hopeful that the Pixel Watch is going to be this product that abandons this really obnoxious custom watch band thing that moves on to maybe I don't know, just in general being a better product. And right now we're not seeing it, but we haven't had a couple of generations go by for them to correct those interesting choices. But speaking of interesting choices, we have the Pixel Fold. It's going to weigh 10 ounces and it's going to cost over $1,700. Show of hands, who's getting two? Come on, I know you all are. Anyway, so I haven't actually read this yet, but it's so short, I know a skim is going to take no time at all. Let's see. So they are claiming this is going to have the most durable hinge on a foldable, and it will be water resistant. What that means is anybody's guess, I suppose. Samsung rates its comparable device as offering IPX8. Yeah, I have trouble believing the Pixel Fold is going to be appreciably better than this, but you never know. Maybe. Carson, maybe if the Pixel 7 Pro trade-in is good, like $700. Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I do not believe for a second that folding screens have the durability to be... And I mean, if you got the money to throw at it, go for it. But I would not trade my primary phone for something that is going to be very, very, like, not reliable for the long term. Let's see, they're promising 24-hour battery life, 72 in low power mode. That doesn't sound good either, actually. So yeah, I guess they do list the same for the current phones, but also going to be powered by the G2. We knew that. Which part of me looks at that, and as Austin has certainly commented, others as well, the G2 looking a little bit long in the tooth to be launching a phone with it right now. I get it. I kind of don't blame them for it. It's not like it's a bad processor, and it's not going to be highly regrettable, but I think it's also not going to motivate people to buy it. It's one of those situations where if you are the type of person that looks closely at the SoC choice, this is an excuse not to buy a Pixel Fold, but it will not be a thing that motivates people to buy the Pixel Fold. If you understand what I'm getting at. It's, it's like you can walk into any store and point to a product and say, well, here's a thing that can be a deal breaker for some people. Most people, maybe not, but it's definitely a deal breaker for some people. And in no way is this going to motivate other people to come buy it. And that's kind of what you're doing when you're putting a Tensor G2 in at this stage. I mean, it's going to be 3 or 4 months before they're launching the G3. So, and on a phone that will cost half of this. So, or less, actually, probably less. So yeah, or well, definitely less, like a third of this. So yeah, yeah, it's not a perfect choice. It's not a terrible choice. It makes sense, just not a perfect choice. It will weigh more by enough. Okay, so it's going to weigh presumably 283 grams versus the 263 grams of Samsung's Fold 4, so it'll be 20 grams heavier. That's enough that you'll be able to feel it in a side-by-side, but not enough. I don't think that's going to be enough for anyone to really, like, care. The thing that I think still stands out, too, is at a price point of $1,700, you're still going to be paying for, again, the older processor, but more importantly, it's pretty well known that the camera is not going to be as good as the regular Pixel cameras. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a fine phone. I don't think that's an issue. I just think you're paying a lot for an older processor, a less powerful set of cameras, and a screen that is probably destined to wear out relatively quickly. At least based on everything we've seen from every other folding phone. I don't love it. Austin, it comes with a free Pixel Watch. At least that could help. Obviously I don't believe that's happening, but at least it would help. They should do that. I wonder how well the Pixel Watch is sold at this point. Also, funny thought, but I think important to mention. Ironically, a Pixel Watch would be a really great accessory with this because it's going to cost you, if you're using a watch for notifications. Oh, wait, that actually is rumored. Okay, but it was also rumored that if you bought a Pixel 7 Pro, you were going to get a watch. That didn't happen. At least as part of like a pre-order deal. That didn't happen. The rumor mill seems to be very optimistic about a lot of freebies, and I think they might be a little too aspirational with that. That's not actually mentioned here, right? Oh, it is. Lastly, the Pixel Fold is said to cost upward of $1,700 with Google offering trade-ins and a free Pixel Watch, presumably as the pre-order incentive. Sorry, that's this section here. Yeah, I'm sorry. Again, like I said, there were too many rumors about this happening with the Pixel 7 Pro, and maybe that's why. Maybe all the rumors about this being for the Pixel 7 Pro, or when that was about to come out and the rumors said a watch was going to come with that, maybe those rumors were in reference to this. Oh, that's right, it was a UK thing. See, the thing is, maybe this is a UK thing too. Maybe they're not doing this for the US. Regardless, my point basically comes back to, if you didn't get it before, I wouldn't bank on it happening this time. Maybe it will. It absolutely could. I can only speak based on theory here, but yeah. Just not convinced. That's where I land on this. But again, I will say I think the watch is a smart thing to give away with this, because even though there is a display on the outside, and that is really really important here, um, I can't help but think you will, if you're using the phone just less, if you open it fewer times, make use of it less, that's a big win. You're going to keep it from breaking down quite as quickly. And the watch will help with that. Austin, unless Google hands you one, you're gonna pass. Yeah, that's pretty much where I stand on it. That being said, at least you will be in a position where Google might hand you one. Or you are going, right? Did you come to a decision on that? To the Google I/O event? So, good luck. I hope you actually get one. That would be cool. Diablo, not gonna get one. Yeah. I know I can't afford it, even if I could. Well, if I could, I would probably, because, I'm a bit like Austin in this way. I'd want to buy it to have it. But I don't think I would. Well, current financial situation is just too much. But in general, no. Like if I had 1,700 and wasn't going to spend any of that on a different phone otherwise, I would much sooner just spend that on replacing a computer, or rather buying a gaming rig, or replacing the terrible chair I sit in. Austin went to IO and all you got was a Pixel 7a. Yeah, see, honestly, that's still what I expect they're gonna give you, but you never know. So, really quick, I don't have much more to say on. Actually, I don't think I have anything more to say on the Fold right now. I'm sure there will be much more to talk about when that one gets a little bit closer. But really quick, I'm going to sidestep to a different topic, the earbuds I'm reviewing. So these have unmistakably the worst name of any product I've ever reviewed. That's not actually true, but it's probably close. But these are the Poly Voyager 360 Plus earbuds. The name is just so profoundly terrible. Because, besides the fact that this is a product from HP Plantronics, it is with the brand name Poly. So, right there, you're already into kind of a WTF territory. And it also, I cannot for the life of me figure this out, but they decided to put the word free in front of the number 60. So it sounds like 360, but it's not. Anyway, so I need to actually look up the price on these again. But I believe, and I could be mistaken, I believe they are $300 or $350. This is an expensive pair of earbuds. And I'm holding it up with the white background so you can kind of just see. What's really neat about these, or like their headlining feature, is the top of the case has a touchscreen display in it, which actually allows you to see battery life. You can control features. Let's see. For whatever reason, there's a barcode thing in its menu. Anyway, Austin hit with the address. Actually, yeah, that's good because I'm sure that has a price on it. God, their page even loads slow. Oh, wow, it is way below what see, they announced, the reason I thought it was $350 is they announced this at CES, and oh wait, starting at. Oh, okay, wait. How much is the one I'm reviewing? Man, their site is slow. Maybe I'm a little spoiled, but oh wait, can you get it without the stupid Bluetooth adapter? Okay, I'm picking that for the moment, but there's a reason. I'll just say standard. Okay, so the way I have it, the thing I have is $330. That's what I'll. Oops, I forgot to switch views. The way mine is configured is $330. I'm curious, can you get this without the stupid Bluetooth adapter? No. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, if you want to get the touchscreen case, you have to get the Bluetooth adapter. Not that that's a big deal. It's just weird. Anyway, so the quick rundown, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about this in particular, but the earbuds are actually really good. They sound. I need to do more music listening on them, but so far they sound really good. In public, they work pretty well for like ANC, along with like outside sound. So the transparency mode I think is actually kind of wrong. It seems reversed from what it should be, but whatever. It is what it is. Transparency mode always sucks, so who cares? The case itself is absurd in size. Let's see, in this view. For reference, I don't know how well that comes across. These are the Nord Buds 2. I already complained that this case is too big. This is the Poly Free 60. Or Poly Voyager Free 60. The case is quite literally like the footprint is almost twice the size. Like you can see it's just unbelievably large. It is bigger in every dimension. It's actually taller than the Nord Buds case, which is my big complaint. And in terms of width, like again, you could easily fit the Nord Buds case inside. It's just super, super huge. And I walked around yesterday with this case in my back pocket so I could get a sense of how ridiculous it felt. And let me tell you, it's ridiculous. Like, it's bad. But that being said, the case, the touchscreen features, they're fine. I used it a bit. Not bad. It is certainly kind of neat for like pairing to actually have just be able to touch things on the case instead of holding a button and fiddling with stuff like that. The buds are really good. They support multi-point, which I have been enjoying the hell out of. They actually stick in the ear better than I thought they would. They're pretty comfortable. Like all the wins in that lineup. But this has a single feature, and this is why I wanted to talk about this. It has a single feature that I don't think I've even seen advertised. Do they advertise this on the page? Because that, to me, is just... let's see. Oh, these also advertise heavily that they are certified for Zoom and Microsoft Teams, and they're trying to get certification with Google right now for Meet and Google Voice for whatever reason. Wait a second, what? These have a touch sensor there? I didn't even see that before. Okay. God, there's so many features in these. Seriously. It's like if someone did a survey on what features you want to have in a pair of wireless earbuds, and instead of saying, well, here's all the things that like were picked the most, instead some manager came along and just like that scene from the movie Triple X with Vin Diesel, where he points to all these weapons as he's walking by his car and says, I want all of this in there. But it's like that. Whoever picked the features for these things just picked all of them. There's almost nothing missing. The only thing I can think of that's missing is a low latency mode like gaming earbuds have. And those low latency modes always garbage, so who cares? Okay, do we have... Is it maybe listed here? I don't think it is. Okay, there's, again, a specific feature I'm looking for. I don't know if they market it, and I think they don't. They don't. Oh my god. Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I think it's just outside of reach. It doesn't matter. Anyway, one of the things that comes in the box with these earbuds is a cable with USB-C at one end and a 3.5 millimeter audio jack in the other. You can plug the case directly into any audio source, any headphone jack, and the case streams to the earbuds. I didn't know I needed this feature in everything until now. And don't get me wrong, the sound quality isn't great. It's actually kind of mediocre. And I think anyone who's going to do this should probably improve on the sound quality before they actually try to do this. But holy crap, it's so cool. Why is that not a thing everywhere? It is the feature every single place needs, or every single earbud option should have with their case. I mean, if the case has any reason at all to have this, it should. It's such a neat feature. So anyway, that's a 2.4 gigahertz transmitter would have been nicer. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the audio quality is a little on this like low grade SBC sort of quality. It's sort of, I mean, it's not as bad as like the old days of listening to, or like using Bluetooth earbuds for a phone call. Like, it's better audio quality than that, but not by a ton. But still, like, the mere fact that you can just plug them into anything, whatever it is, it doesn't need Bluetooth. You could plug these into an old, like, Discman if you wanted to. That is just so cool. Anyway, so Diablo asked, if they give you a Pixel tablet, awesome, that'd be amazing. Nexus 7 vibes. Austin doesn't think he's going to get any swag. And Carson saying there's no chance. It's 8 people. Okay, so Austin. Oh, actually, yeah, that is a neat idea. Wish everyone would throw like 4 gigs of storage into the charging case so that people could just save audio there. That would actually be pretty neat too. And yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, that would be a really neat touch. The one catch to that is you would kind of need to have... You would need some way to control it, kind of. Actually, you know, instead of putting the 4 gigabytes of storage into the case itself, how about just an SD card slot? Well, micro SD. Give me a slot that I can put in there with music on it, and that way I can just bring the charging case with me on like a run or something, and it would just stream to the earbuds. that would be, it's sort of the same thing people already try to do with smartwatches, but this would be a little bit better, kind of. Because if you're going to go on a run, you're going to bring your charging case with you, because if you ever have to take your earbuds out, you don't want them just floating around. So if you're going to bring it with you already, yeah, put in a charging slot, or not charging slot, but a memory card slot, and you're good to go. Let's see, Carson bringing up that a lot of people are using streaming services. Yes, I agree with that, but there are a lot of people who they don't. There are a lot of people who actually are using something like this, and they do bring the music with them in some way, shape, or form. That, or let's see. To be fair, a few of the music streaming services have some amount of letting you get the music files, kind of. Though a lot of them, it's usually just the download for offline use kind of situation. But yeah, it would be interesting if there was a good way to handle this. I almost want to think on that and see if I can bring that up in some way. But considering these things are the ridiculous, like, all-in-one, every feature you can possibly ask for kind of thing, it almost feels like this just should be a thing, because why not? That being said, without question, the big feature I want is a smaller case. The case needs to be tinier by a lot. Anyway, yeah, so I've been a pretty big fan of these. I kind of had my doubts, but these are likely to become my new favorite earbuds. And granted, at the price, that's maybe not saying a lot, but to be fair, the price of $230, it's still high for earbuds, but if you ignore the case itself and just go for the regular buds, they're really good. And I guess I'm gonna have to test for the touch sensitive strip. I really did not know that was going to be a thing on these. Man, there's so much that I need to look into on these. I thought I was going to be writing the review for this tomorrow, but I still have a long list of stuff I want to check out, which is weirdly brutal. Actually, maybe I'll move this page down into this tab so I can check it again later. Man, I come into a RambleCast with a set of prepared links that I'm going to talk about. Usually it's a pretty short list. And sometimes I even don't have anything because the week is in some way, shape, or form kind of dull. This week, I might be going away with more links that I need to check later. Which I'm very literally adding those back into my RambleCast folder right now. Though one of these has nothing to do with the topic that I brought up on the stream, though. Is this something actually interesting? I don't actually know what this is about. I just saw the headline. Apparently, according to The Verge, Facebook owes us $725 million, and you can file a claim for it. So obviously they lost a class action lawsuit, I'm sure, and apparently you can file a claim. You can do so by August 25th. Answer a few questions. I don't know what this is specifically for, but it looks like Cambridge Analytica. Yep, okay. So I'm assuming this is as long as you were using Facebook in this time, you were probably being spied on. So, yay! Everyone go get your money. Money, 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 dollars, y'all. And yes, Carson, I was literally copying the link to paste in there as just as that, just as you said that. So yeah, I can't imagine it's going to pay out more than a few dollars, but hey, why the hell not? Does it say how much? I bet it, yeah, it doesn't. But hey, you can get a few dollars. If you can get a few dollars out of it, paid directly to PayPal, who cares? But yeah, so I'm going to be looking more into this and filling out the forms later. Let's see. So, other topics. I think the Pixel Fold is over. Oh, and really quickly, I will say, based on the conversation about the swag for Austin, Austin, I too would be genuinely surprised if they don't give you some kind of swag. I mean, it's a given they are going to give you some swag. Guaranteed, they will give you something like a hat, a t-shirt, maybe that collection of terrible superfan swag that all of those people surely already have. But they will give you more of it, because why not? That being said, I do think you're probably going to get some device, and the odds of it being the Pixel tablet are very high. I don't think it's going to be a Pixel Fold. I think the odds of that are infinitesimally small. But I would not be surprised if they give you the tablet, because it's the lowest cost piece of hardware they're going to be announcing, I think. And it's something that the reason they will likely do this is kind of as Carson said, there's only going to be 8 people. And moreover, they're hoping that what you're going to do is go onto the Pixel Superfans Facebook group and post pictures of it. They're going to want you to show how cool it was to be one of the people picked, because that amps up the rest of the crowd. And I'm not trying to say that this is a particularly bad thing or anything. I'm just saying, like, that's what they want. And so if they don't give you anything, you might come away from this disappointed. But if they give you something, yeah, you're probably going to be one of those people who's like, ooh, you know, look at the really great thing that they gave me. Austin, you don't think it's technically a full ticket? You don't technically have an IO registration or anything. Okay, but IO isn't really a thing anymore. Like, not really. Not right now. I mean, someday again, I'm sure it will be, but this isn't like, IO is no longer a 2 or 3 day event. It's just the keynote, and then all the press people go to, the press people, for the most part, I'm sure probably have some area they can go to quickly write stuff if they don't have a hotel room to go back to. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they do have a couple of those, like, project tents or something that people can go talk to the, like, maybe 24 Googlers that they cart out there just to show stuff off for a couple of hours. But as far as I know, there is no other IO anymore. Not until they restore the classic IO. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Again, someone who went last year would have a better ability to say more on this, but from what I recall of a couple weeks ago when we talked about this, well, probably more than a couple weeks ago, whenever it was we talked about it, after the keynote, if I remember, at least a few people said, like, they went to the keynote and then just left. There was nowhere else to go or nothing else to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if this year is pretty similar. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't think you're really getting anything appreciably different than any of the other press people who are going to be attending the keynote. And I know that they're quote unquote inviting some select people, but as far as I'm aware, the people they're inviting are GDEs, the Google Developer Experts, and a lot of those they're probably inviting for for a lot of those people, what they're going to be doing is taking them obviously to the keynote, and then they're going to be probably take them to a separate event that is just for GDEs, which yes would be sort of like a more real IO, but it's still not going to be anything like an IO. And then there's going to be other like influencers who are going to be there, and it's same deal. I think they're just going to go for the keynote, and some of them might be going on tours and other things too. I don't think there's any other real IO to go to though. And yeah, you're going to be going on the tour. Here's the thing. I think you will probably be going on the tour maybe with more than just the other 8 super fans. Or sorry, 8 total super fans. I wouldn't be surprised if your tour ends up including some of the YouTubers that show up. Yeah, IO Connect is the more real IO thing. And it is developer focused, which I would argue real IO is not developer focused anymore. At least not based on the last couple of times that last few times that I went. It was developer focused for the first couple of years that I went. After that, it was fan focused. And I don't think that ever really changed. So yeah, IO Connect is a return to having a developer focused thing. Let's see. So yeah, my hunch, my belief is you're probably, I do think you're going to get some swag. I'm not predicting it's going to be anything huge. It's probably just going to be, it's probably going to be the Nest, it's going to be the Pixel tablet with hub. If they give you more than that, dude, congrats. That's awesome. I mean, I'm hoping you get a bunch more. It would be super cool if they do what they did in IO 2013? Or was it 2012? I think it was 2012. Where everyone who showed up got literally every product that they had just announced. Every product with with Nexus in the name. They all got it. So they were given a Nexus 4, the Nexus 10, the Nexus, was that the Q? I thought the Q was a different year, but I'm not sure. You want a Pixel Q? That would be neat. Let's see. Whatever the other device was, now I'm drawing a blank on it. Maybe it was the Nexus Q. Anyway, yeah, they gave away the entire boat, that IO, and that was pretty great for everyone who went. I'm hoping for the best for you. I'm wishing you luck. Maybe walk away with the Fold and a Pixel tablet. I don't know. Maybe another couple of random things. Maybe they'll give you a watch. It could be the full boat. I'm hoping for you. But yeah, my hunch is probably just going to be going with just the tablet. And well, tablet and hub combo. Anyway, so Carson is pushing on the Google Fi wireless thing. I haven't really read this, and I was told it wasn't all that much. So I do know that they are renaming it. Obviously, as the article here points out, it started as Project Fi, it then turned to Google Fi, now it is becoming Google Fi Wireless. I will adamantly say I think that is a perfect idea. It is incredibly... They should do this. Because, look, if you look at almost any of the carriers, almost all of them put either mobile or wireless into some part of their name, or at least their plan names or something. Basically because they want people to be able to say that. They don't want it to like go unexplained. They want their purpose to be recognizable. And a lot of people just genuinely don't know the Google Fi name. It doesn't make sense to them when you say Google Fi. So yeah, it 100%. They needed wireless in the name. Let's see. They have a new logo that makes an F out of the dots and pills in the company colors. Is that... okay. I don't hate it. I kind of like that. I think I actually like that more than the actual Phi logo. It's not bad. Austin, I want Phi so bad. I mean, for what, 20 something a month, you can. It's yeah, you wish they would get AT&T and Verizon support. Never gonna happen. But yeah, honestly, I would love that. As it stands, now that Sprint belongs to T-Mobile and US Cellular is effectively toast, I'm sitting here with you won't really be able to see this, but let's quickly clear notifications just in case. Yeah, there's almost no... Oh, no. Yeah, you will be able to see this. But if you can see the signal indicator up there, it says no signal. And down below I get... Or, oh no, sorry, up at the top left, I get the scrolling message saying, emergency calls only, for Google Fi. So, yeah, that's what has happened to my Fi line over the last several months because of the changes they have made. Strictly speaking, I actually believe I do get calls on this phone still, but yeah, it's a lot less reliable. Or rather less capable. I guess both. Whatever. But yeah, T-Mobile coverage here is the garbage. Sprint coverage here used to be better, but apparently as T-Mobile doesn't care about covering this area with Sprint's old towers. So yeah, I get nothing. Let's see. Carson saying we get like 25% off AT&T with this signature discount program. Would be hard to switch. Yeah, so I actually get a discount. It's not 25%. Jeez, that's great actually. But I get something like 10% off of AT&T thanks to an old workplace deal. And if I ever left and came back, I wouldn't get that, so that kind of would be a thing. But yeah, AT&T is still too expensive for what it is. Way too expensive for what it is. Which, very notably, I canceled 2 lines. I was at 4 lines. I'm now down to 2. And so far my bill has not visibly changed. Actually, I'm going to look this up. Because my bill should have dropped. Not enormously, but it should have dropped. And I don't know if it just hasn't reflected that yet or what, but I'm kind of curious. Because I feel like that needs to not cost as much. Okay, so so no, it shouldn't have been a family plan discount issue. It's technically with each line that you remove or add, you get a slightly better rate on the other lines. But that should not be, or that wouldn't, it's not enough of a difference to make it cheaper to have more lines. Okay. So, alright, it is definitely down. So it's about $40 cheaper than it was after I removed 2 lines. They just haven't billed me for this yet. That's why. Because I mostly look at my credit card statements to keep track of how much AT&T is billing me, and I have not seen this number show up on the credit card yet. So what is it? Maybe the billing date is probably coming up in like a week or something. So, but still, for 2 lines, it is a lot of money. It's way too much for 2 lines. But hey, at least I get that sweet, sweet HBO Max for free. Well, not really for free if I'm paying this much, but hey, at least I'm getting the HBO Max. So, that's something. Alright, anyway, so back to Fi. Or Fi. I don't know. Google wants to shift Fi Wireless to flexible, secure phone plans for families, and is positioning Simply Unlimited as the plan for that. $80 a month for 2 to 4 lines. Oh, actually, that's not bad at all. And includes all the essentials for your family to stay connected, with unlimited data, calls, and text within the US, Canada, and Mexico. Plus 5 gigabytes of hotspot tethering. Yeah, that's not a bad price. It really isn't. I mean, for one person, it kind of would be mediocre, but once you get even 2 people on there, that's solid. Note the $5 per month increase for Simply Unlimited 3-line users, but there will be a $5 credit for the next 3 billing cycles. That's weird as hell. Let's see. Carson, wonder if you were to cancel the HBO, it would still work though. I don't know, and I don't care to find out. But yeah, that would be. I do wonder about that, because the perpetual free HBO would be super cool. Let's see. I feel like their backend wouldn't catch that. It's possible it wouldn't. You never know. Awesome. Free data sims would be amazing. Yeah. Yeah. To me, that's what would definitely interest me about Fi. I'd love to put data sims into like half of my stuff just to have it. But you know what? I actually haven't opened my Fi page in forever either. Let's see. Does it say anything of interest here? Yeah, only thing interesting here is my bills end up being about $24 a month. Not much to say there. That and I, which if I remember, was part of that paying off a phone, or is that done? I think that's done. So yeah, I'm just using the flexible plan, which is $20 a month. So is the other $4 taxes and BS, or is that for paying off a phone? Opening up thing. Okay, yeah, that $4.42 that I paid last month, that is purely taxes and regulation. Yes. So yeah, good to know, I guess. Let's see. Look into Airlo. It's basically data eSIMs. The only thing is, I wouldn't. Okay, they're cheaper than you thought. All right. We'll pull this up just out of curiosity. Okay. US. let's see. Do they have a... These look like just pure prepaids, or do they have... oh, wow. Regional is actually regional. Oh, yeah. Very notably, when I was looking up the previous things with my accounts, I was doing that on a different computer. I wasn't going to share that anyway. But, yeah, so Airlow, though, the US dropped down, so $450 for a 7-day, 1 gigabyte of data. It's not terrible, certainly. I mean, that's just casual, drop it in kind of a thing. You can spend $42 for 20 gigs. I mean, just barely over $2 a gig. That's not bad. I mean, you can also top up the data. Makes sense. It uses eSIM, which is great. Yeah, this is cool for sure. Huh. Sort of. Well, yeah. Well, that makes sense. Okay. For data only is maybe the only catch to this. I could see wanting to still have a phone number associated, but might not really need it enough to warrant it. And if you're not going to actively make regular phone calls, or you're going to use any other method to do calling, this would be fine. Interesting. It's actually, that could be pretty cool. How much does this change if you go to regional, out of curiosity? So we'll say for the 20 gigs, $42, 1 gig was $450. What happens if we just do oh, wait. Oh, there's no North America in this list. The closest you get is Latin America. And the Caribbean islands have a region. Interesting. Okay, how about the global eSIM? What's this like? Okay, global eSIM looks to be... It's double. Just whatever the price was before, it's basically double. Oh, no, it's, you know... The 20 gigabyte went up a few dollars from what double would have been. It was 42, it jumped to 89, so it should have been 84. So $5 more. Still, it's not bad. Oh, the buy now shows additional details. Okay, so I guess pop back over here. Buy now on the expensive one, just out of curiosity. Okay, those are the top-up packages. Additional information. Network is T-Mobile and Verizon. That's kind of neat. Data only. Validity period starts when you connect to a supported network, and identity verification not required. That's nice if you need it to be a burner phone if you're a kidnapper. Let's see. Oh, and the eSIM. Well, okay. That would apply elsewhere. Okay. Well, yeah. Hey, this. I mean, if you need to travel someplace and just need data for any reason whatsoever, this is pretty worth it. It's stuff like this also that makes me think what we. I know this feels like. This feels like the worst kind of beating a dead horse, but now I don't care enough to reach for the prop. But this is why cameras, we need cameras that run smartphone OSs and have cellular connections, like dedicated cameras. I can so easily imagine a photographer being like, "Yo, I need to fly to I'm gonna fly to, I don't know, New Delhi, do a photo shoot really fast. It's gonna take like, I don't know, 2 hours. Hop back on a plane, go somewhere else or whatever. And you just want your camera to upload every shot you took. You don't want to hotspot to a phone. You don't want to mess around with anything else. You just want everything uploaded to a backup right away and be done with it. This is the way to do it. You don't want to mess with hotspot on your phone. You don't want to transfer everything to a laptop so that you can pedal it through Wi-Fi or something else, or a wired connection. You just want straight data connection to cellular towers and do your upload. This is the way to do it. Like, it wouldn't cost that much. It gets the job done, and you use up your data and go. Let's see, Carson, on iPhone it works a little better because you can still receive phone calls and SMS via Wi-Fi calling for cellular data. Yes, you can, and to be fair, can't you do that? Well, I guess maybe not. I was gonna say, can't you do that with some Android phones? At least depending on your cellular network, but I guess that's a lot more hit and miss anyway. But you might still have trouble with your cellular network. Or maybe not. Actually, no, I guess that shouldn't be a problem. As long as your cellular network supports Wi-Fi calling in the first place, and your phone does too, then it should... Oh, wait, but that's normally over Wi-Fi. I don't know that a data-only thing like this would count. Who knows? I'm not going to worry about it, but that's an interesting thing. I'm sure someone out there probably has tested this and could tell us a lot more. Anyway, yeah, good name drop. One of these days I need to start, I gotta start setting up like a referral code thing or something like that, and just throw stuff like this on there just for the hell of it. But yeah, that's cool. That's definitely better than relying on Fi to do the same thing. Let's see. When on cellular, it would route the iPhone primary SIM over the data only SIM. Okay, that's cool. I didn't think iPhones did that, but I never really checked. All right. Anyway, so let's see what else is happening with Fi Wireless. To emphasize the focus, Google Fi is getting a family-centric app redesign that makes it easier to manage your family's digital safety settings, such as ensuring your child can only be called or texted by trusted numbers and giving you the ability to add new members. Okay, I get that. That's smart. Interesting, though. I didn't know that was actually a feature of Fi. Let's see. This is primarily achieved with a people switcher in the app bar and various cards. The redesigned app is rolling out over the coming weeks. Sure. A new feature of Simply Unlimited is support for smartwatches at no extra cost. Holy crap, that is cool. Because it like, this is famously the thing. If you're on AT&T or Verizon, and I'm assuming T-Mobile, what is the charge for smartwatches? Isn't it? I would swear. Well, okay, wait. For the Apple Watch, I think it was $10 a month, wasn't it? I might have that wrong, but I want to say it was Apple Watch cellular plan, $10 on Verizon. Apple Watch carriers, does this list say? It does not. Of course it doesn't. Okay, quickly skimming to see what... Okay, so make use of a sister site to Android Police, I'll have you know. So yeah, they say Verizon is $10 a month. T-Mobile appears to be $5 a month for 500 megabytes of data. If your watch is using more than 500 megabytes of data, unless you are streaming a ton of music, I would say that's probably pretty safe. Or you can get an unlimited plan for $10 a month. And AT&T, it is $10 a month. Oh, and the setup fee. A setup fee of $25. Fucking AT&T. What the goddamn motherfucker? Are you fucking kidding? I hate AT&T. It's not like Verizon is really better. Just fuck AT&T's fees. Okay, anyway. Okay, so yeah, that's obnoxious. And I guess you would have to do that if you want calling to come through your watch too, because you wouldn't be able to do like your watch on a different cellular network and still get your calling. God damn it! Yeah, AT&T. Hate them. Anyway, so let's see. But that is pretty cool that Fi is doing smartwatches for free. Good for them. Let's see. So that is for Simply Unlimited. So if it, like, my plan won't support it, but that would. This previously required either the... Oh, wait. Sorry, no, my plan does have that. Never mind. I take it back. Let's see. So... Oh, and now you can add the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 and 5 Pro instead of just the Pixel Watch. That's nice. All three plans now support getting a free phone with every new line you add to the plan via 24 monthly bill credits. This 2-year commitment works with every line you add to your plan. If... What the heck? They're dumb. Wait, this can't be right, right? They're so stupid if they do this. All three plans now support getting a free phone with every new line you add to your plan via bill credits. Okay. So this is part of the Simply Unlimited plan, which is the same price. It's $80 a month for 2 to 4 lines, right? Yeah. So any sane person should sign up for Simply Unlimited and just pick 4 plans. Get multiple free phones. Like, get whatever phones you want for the people who are going to be on it, but get more phones. Or, you know, just sign up all 4 lines. Just automatically. Yeah, sign up 4 lines. You're already paying $80. It doesn't matter. You're not going to save anything by getting fewer lines. So you sign up all 4 lines. Do whatever you want with the phones that are actually going to go to people. But for the additional lines, sign up and get yourself a wait, where was the... Did I... Oh yeah, okay, scrolled up. So you can get a Pixel 6a, a Samsung A14, or a Moto G Power. Obviously, do not get a Moto G Power. You'd have to be a chump. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend the Samsung A14, but I don't know, maybe. I doubt it resells for as well as this Pixel 6a, but maybe it does. But yeah, I would just get a Pixel 6a with the remaining plans. Just one each for every extra plan. And just as soon as you get it, hop on Swap and resell the damn thing. And then who cares what happens with the plan after that? Is there like terms and conditions that says you can't do this? I don't want to go digging too deep into this, but yeah, exactly. Who in their right mind would pick a Moto G Power over Pixel 6a? Exactly. Okay, so I'm going down a bad rabbit hole here, but Swappa, Pixel 6a, what do we sell? Okay, so presumably, let's say more carriers? Really? Phi isn't on the list? Alright, well, whatever. Yeah, sure, whatever. We'll pick storage for no good reason. New. Okay, and sort price low. Okay, so let's just say you want to move these quick. For whatever reason. Is Phi unlocked officially? I'll take your word for it. It probably is, but we'll pick unlocked just because. Sure. All right. So a little bit of quick math. Let's say you can sell it for $279. Let's see. Swap of fees end up being, what is it, 15%? Was it 15%? It's something like that. How to sell. I hate the way that their fee structure works, but so someone feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, but let's just say their fees are 15%, and then you would also need to subtract, let's say, another 15 for shipping. Okay, so presumably you would make about $220 selling at the lowest possible price. Oh, swap of fees, 3%? Yeah, but it's more than that. Because they hit you with something else too. Or, oh no, it's the PayPal fee. That's right. Austin, you get the 6A money back via 24 monthly bill credits. Yes, that's true. However, you're going to keep the lines open that you pay full price for the 6A up front. Why would you? Because Fi supports payment plans on phones. So if you're if you're going to do a payment plan on a phone, you buy the phone on a payment plan, which should stretch 24 months, and then you get the bill credits back to pay for it. I mean, I bought multiple phones on Fi before with the payment plan. Well, multiple, I think twice, but wait, maybe only once, but I know I've done it. So you don't have to pay for it up front. At least I can't see why you would have to in this scenario. Anyway, I don't remember what the PayPal fee would be, but PayPal is supposedly similar. I still feel like that's wrong. I'm pretty sure that I had a larger chunk taken out of mine. Anyway, so, and it doesn't really matter, even if you have to pay the full price of the, well, wait, would you pay the full, but either way, you're getting bill credits back. So the whole point of this is you can buy the phone, even if you pay it up front, it's an investment because you're going to sell the phone up right away and get a big chunk of money back. It wouldn't, you know, in theory, it wouldn't be as much, but that should work. So the reason I'm looking this up is basically, let's say the reason I'm thinking this, so I'll you know, I don't think I need to spell it out, but I think anyone gets it. So if you're already going to be spending, yeah, here's the page I wanted. If you already are going to be spending $80 every month, doesn't matter how many lines. So if you can walk away with, all right, let's just round this up. Let's say it's $230. After you sell the phone on Swappa, I'm pretty sure you would be able to do a payment plan on the phones, every single free phone that you'd be getting, and those free phones you get the bill credits for. You receive the phone, promptly sell it on Swappa. You make ballpark $230, $240, whatever it is. That's basically 3 months for free or thereabouts of your Fi service. If you got let's say two people are actually going to be using this, you sign up 4 lines, you get the other 2 phones out of this, sell them both. Let's say you make a total of $480 off of this, which seems pretty reasonable. Remember, I'm also going off of Swappa's lowest price. Going off of Swappa's absolute lowest price. There are plenty of other people here who are probably going to sell their phones. In the meantime, side note, they're probably going to be harassed by crappy resellers who are going to offer bogus amounts. And if you talk back to them in any way, shape, or form, Swappa will threaten to ban you. I did not have a good experience with Swappa staff. Yeah, so you could basically get 6 months of free Fi by just getting phones and then selling them through Swappa or any other marketplace. I seriously, this is just such an easy thing to do. Yeah, just remember the Pixel 6a price will probably drop at IO2. Yes, it will. But then Fi will probably switch to giving a 7a as one of your free phone options. They're always going to be giving some free phone options, and the price, whichever device it is, and price and all that stuff, is probably going to stay relatively a static option. Carson, your experience selling on Swappa has been pretty good. Prefer it over eBay at this point. Okay, don't get me wrong. Yes, Swappa is substantially better than eBay, but Swappa's staff did not give me a good impression in the least. I have to dig it up. I know I've got it somewhere, but somebody came and spammed my listing with basically, hey, would you consider taking, I think it was like 30% off the price or whatever. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but it was an insultingly low offer. And I basically said, look, it's not my job to give you profit so you can resell it. Like, go find somebody else to bother. And I mean, I wasn't polite about it. It's like a go away kind of thing. But I also was not rude. I did not say anything offensive or anything like that. And Swappa staff came in, deleted my comment, and said basically, we'll take action if you respond. If you respond with hostility or something like that, or if you don't follow our guidelines. They weren't specific about what guideline was violated. So I emailed them and said, so I looked through your guidelines. I looked through them before I even replied to the first comment. And I'd love you to explain how exactly anything I said comes even close to violating anything. But in the meantime, let's also point out, here are the guidelines that his comment violated directly. They responded back. Oh, and I signed it very specifically because normally I don't do this, but this was one moment I felt it needed to happen. I signed it specifically that I work for Android Police. And I got the snidest, crappiest response back. Someone basically saying, well, you know, sometimes comments can get taken out of context, and because of that, we don't want to allow that to possibly blow up into something bigger. And we could see a way your comment could do this. And you should know how that works because you are at a site where comments like that happen. And it's like, dude, I kind of hate you now because you're taking the side of a bad reseller. This is what bothered me about it. It was a bad reseller who I looked through, and he had left comments on, like, I found a good 20 listings that he had said similar things on. And it was so obvious that it was just spammy and bad, and it's harassing everybody. But they're defending that person because, let's be honest, that person is going to buy the phone, pay the fees, and then obviously, like, Swappa makes their fees from that sale. Then the person is going to have the phone sent to them, promptly relisted on Swappa, and Swappa will make fees on a second sale. That's what they're doing. And so Swappa makes a lot of money off of these people. Of course, they're not going to threaten to ban those people. They're going to defend them. And, you know, this isn't a this is how they get you speech, but it makes sense. I get it. I'm an account that is now selling one item, and they're not going to risk threatening or risk banning accounts that sell, from what I saw, a few thousand items. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but it's not the way to have handled the situation. So my opinion of Swappa's staff is very, very low. Swappa itself, fine. I generally like the way that they handle selling of phones. I think that's good. But their staff and moderation policies are drastically in need of some common sense. Anyway, so let's see. Nothing else to speak of in this Fi Wireless changeover. But I gotta say, if anyone's looking to get creative with their with how they handle the Simply Unlimited plan, this is a way to get roughly 6 months of free service. Maybe more if you do this immediately after the Pixel 7a becomes available on this 2-year commitment thing. Obviously, look for specifics because maybe they have some policy in there where, like, if the phone they sent you isn't the phone that you're connecting or something, like, they might terminate your bill credits. I doubt that's in there, but it could be. But this, yeah, it just feels like they wrote in a very, very easy strategy to get a ton of money out of just reselling phones that they're willing to give you for free. Man, if I had a reason to put if I had a reason to pay for Fi's $80 plan instead of their $20 flexible plan, I would totally be doing this. It's such an easy way to just cycle some phones. Anyway, so that's a thing. Let's see. So it is almost 7. I think at this point, funny enough, I had one other topic that was a floater from last week that didn't end up getting used. I'm not going to cover it at this point. I'm just going to point out LinkedIn. I don't know why I'm mentioning this, but apparently LinkedIn is offering a free verified badge if you prove where you work. The catch, it has to be with one of the 4,000 companies that are signed up to the program. Basically, all they do is email you a verification code, and you punch it into LinkedIn, and it says, oh yeah, okay, this confirms you actually work at such and such company currently. Obviously the catch, it has to be part of those 4,000 companies, which that list does not include anywhere I have been or am now, I believe. I'm pretty sure. I guess I haven't actually technically checked, but I think it's a safe bet. Anyway, so if you happen to care about such things, go do. Anyway, so that I think is a good place to wrap it up. I believe I should be game streaming this weekend. Should be some Fall Guys action. I will be earlier in the day doing a lot of work prepping reviews. Oh, and I have plans Friday night, which, okay, shouldn't impact Saturday streaming. Might mean I don't get anything done Saturday early, but we'll see. So yeah, I should be streaming this weekend. I can't think of too many reasons I won't be. Trying to think if there's anything else that I am forgetting, and I don't think there is. So with that, thanks everyone for coming by, being part of the conversation, being part of the stream. It's been a pretty lively chat, and thank you guys for that. That's awesome. Also, because it was conversationally challenging at the time, but I didn't get to say hellos. But hello to Austin, Diablo, Carson, Poopy. Shannon poked in for a moment. Let's see. Of course, thanks to Corbin for hanging out. Did I say Diablo in the beginning? I think I did. But yes, the only person I think we were really missing was Curvy. But, you know, Curvy obviously can't make a lot of the daytime streams anyway. But thank you all for coming by. It's awesome having you. As always, thanks to those who support the channel through Patreon. And obviously Streamlabs and Cash App as well. If you'd like to support the channel, there are links down below to each of those services. It does help keep the channel going. But with that, I'm going to take off for the night and go get some work done. And Carson's gonna go watch some basketball, which sounds about right. All right. Anyway, I hope you all have an excellent rest of your week, and I will see some of you this weekend. Good night, everybody.